Liberia Parish Council special meeting to order. The time now is 6:03. The date is December the 2nd, 2020. We'll begin with a prayer by Tommy and a pledge by Brad. Could everybody please rise?
I'll say the Lord's word on the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Thank you, Tommy. Brad, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Brenda.
Michael Landry. Brad Davis.
Here.
Lloyd Brown.
Brenda, can you start over? We missed the first part, please. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Tommy Pollard.
Here.
Michael Landry. Brad Davis.
Here.
Lloyd Brown.
Here.
Warren Gossesang.
Here.
Natalie Broussard. Paul Landry.
Here.
James Trahan.
Here.
Scott Rossonate.
Here.
Dean Olivier.
Here.
Brian Napier.
Here.
Lady Fontenette Brown.
Here.
Marty Trahan. Chad Monteran.
Here.
Thank you, Brenda. We have a quorum. Michael Landry couldn't make it tonight, personal reasons. Larry had a family emergency, so he will not be joining us tonight by phone. Natalie had some plans for tonight also. She couldn't make it tonight. Of course, you all know Marty had surgery this morning, and we keep praying for his speedy recovery. Thank you. I need a motion to go into public comment. Moved by Lloyd. Need a second. Second by Tommy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, so moved. We're now in public comment. Number one, comment from general public on non-agenda items. There is none. Number two, comments from the general public on agenda items. I have a few people want to comment. We'll begin with Aaron Snag. Want to comment on summary 5078, Sugarcane Festival building issue. Snake, I'm sorry. Snake, I'm sorry.
Take this down?
You can take it down.
Hello, my name is Aaron Snay. I'm married to Paige, owner of Paige's Dance and Cheer Studio, and help manage her business. I'm here on behalf of our employees, dance studios, their families, and our area's other studio owners. We all use the Sugarcane Festival building as a critical tool of our business to display the work of employees and students throughout the year. Our parents make sizable investments in costumes, pictures, rental fees to our studios so that we can rent this building and put on their year in review. The vandalism that occurred to the festival building is very unfortunate. What's also unsettling is that most of the area studios that use this building every year for their year-end recitals did not know the future use of this building was in jeopardy, or possibly in jeopardy. Most of us put our trust in local officials to correct the issue so that we could rent this building as normal. Without any discussions above, this gives some of us less than 4 months to find an alternative venue. On average, a parent's investment can vary from $300 to $500 per child, with most studios having around 50 to over 300 students. That is anywhere from $15,000 to $100,000 investment to these studios for their recitals. Taking an average from that range, and by my estimates, the building typically rents to approximately 12 to 13 studios locally. That's about a $500,000 investment to these studios for these recitals. This all goes to costumes, rentals, props, all which generates tax revenues in one way or the other. By not repairing this building, you will be putting a huge additional strain on our businesses. Without a place to showcase our students' hard work and give them feeling of satisfaction for a year of attending class, they will lose interest. Parents will be hesitant to enroll their children if there is no big finale to see their progression. Other local businesses such as gift boutiques, local restaurants will also miss out on increased sales of gifts for students and parents and families looking for a lunch or dinner after practices or a recital. This building is a missed potential by the parish. Having one of the largest stages in the state, it could be used for many more events year-round to help bring in area residents and tax dollars. Most of us studio owners have only ever used this building, and all of us try to be good stewards of it. There are no other venues like it for many of us to go to. All the local studios have customers from every corner of the parish and even neighboring parishes. With our students getting a chance to perform in this building, it is truly serving all of the community and not just one area. So this isn't a decision that affects one area of the community over the other. This will have an effect across the entire parish. Some of the issues that's come up with the building over the years is issues with the basements. I'm not sure how many of you know that the basements leak occasionally whenever it rains heavily. The cabling for the building that holds the pipe and drapes, the curtains on the building could stand to be repaired, and also the seats of the building, from which I think some were damaged during the vandalism. Some were already broken and unrepaired, limiting the capacity of the building. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. And we have Natalie Lopez to speak also on summary 5078.
Hello, I'm Natalie Lopez. I'm from the City Council, but I'm here to speak on behalf of all the dance studios, and also as a resident of the parish and a mom of a dancer. As someone who, personally started dancing, I don't know, in 1986. I think the first time I danced on the stage was like 88. We have Miss Franny, who's been around forever. We have Gail, who's been around forever. I went to Kay's, who is Miss Gail's sister. We have Stephanie, who is around my age, who now opens Studio 84, who I went to dancing school with at Kay's. Aaron's wife, Paige, I graduated a year behind her in high school at Nish, and she was such, just someone to look up to. So I just felt like I had to come tonight after speaking to everyone and just express my strong opinion that I understand. I've talked to Parish President Richard, that I understand that y'all don't have the actual numbers yet of how much it's going to cost to fix the building. I know some of the concerns are the sound system. Y'all don't know whether or not the sound system has been vandalized. These studios have expressed that even if the sound system has been vandalized, they have their own sound systems. They can still go in and do what they need to do to have their recital. I haven't been told how many chairs have been broken, but I know probably your biggest recital brings about 1,000 people. But with COVID, we know that that's not dying down anytime soon, so we can probably cut that number down to at least, a conservative 75%. It's very critical that you all get together and really find out what we need to do to get this building ready, because this all happened because a studio owner contacted the building to rent it, because recital season starts from the end of March to the beginning of July. Because there's so many studios, they have to book the whole weekend, because we have to get dressed and do a dress rehearsal and practice there. They don't just book it for the one day the recital is, they book for the whole week. You practice, you have your rehearsal on Friday, the recital's usually on Saturday, sometimes 2 recitals, sometimes one on Saturday, one on Sunday. But, this is a building that they count on. This is a building that is probably the only building Miss Franny has ever used. I don't know that. Yes, ma'am. you know, this is important. They can't wait till the last hour to hear that we cannot provide them something that they have relied on for decades. And I wanted to come to just really strongly just implore you to please get on top of this. I understand. I work in government. You don't always have the answer right away. But let's give them an answer. Let's give them a conservative answer, because these kids, they count on that. And I don't want two out of the 10 studios to go down the road and have their recital there this year and be like, well, this is way better. We need to keep them here. It's important. This building is important. What we do with it is important. And I also want to charge you with the challenge of not just fixing what has been vandalized, because I'm going to tell you, as a parent of a daughter who is in dance in there, we go every year. We know the basement is, I mean, I don't want to use a bad word, but it's not in that great of a shape, and it's hot, and it's not that clean, but we still go because we care about the tradition. So let's really think about what we're going to do with this building, and I implore you to please come up with a plan to not only fix it and give these studios what they deserve for 2021 and what these kids deserve after everything they've been through, but to push it even that much further for it to be the building that it can be. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Nancy Marshall to speak about summary number 5090, Sewer District.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Marshall. I'm here to ask to be reappointed to Sewage District 1 Board. The board, we have worked very hard to put the sewage district on a good footing now and in the future. And I would ask for your consideration for me to continue in that endeavor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Marshall. Until now, I didn't realize you was coming to speak about an appointment. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, you're
Okay,
welcome.
thank you. Ricky Gonsolin, summary 5064.
Good evening, Council and fellow colleagues. I stand here before you tonight not talking about Ricky Gonsolin, but talking about my livelihood and the industry that is vital to Iberia Parish. That's the agriculture, energy, and the ag center. That your potential budget amendment is cut to zero when we were traditionally paying $34,000. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I've sat in the same seat you sat for 8 years and made those tough decisions. We balanced the budget. We made those decisions. We were fair across the board in reductions in the budget. And I ask you to consider that tonight. Because what I'm about to tell you is it's a small investment, very small investment. If I come up here and tell you some numbers of 72, 107, 10, 14, 60. Some of you new guys, maybe you old guys, you're probably saying, what is Ricky talking about? All you guys been looking at the budget. It affects the budget, each and every one of y'all. Y'all should know these numbers. And I'll explain them to you. $72 million is what the sugar industry brings to Iberia Parish alone. $72 million. You use the multiplying factor. You want to use 10%? Want to use more than 10%? 10%, $7.2 billion. Billion with a B. Can you afford to lose that industry in this parish when this parish is suffering right now? Believe me, you can't. 107. What's 107? 107 is the total farm gate to Iberia Parish. Use the factor again. You do the math. You can't afford to lose that neither. What about the small numbers I'm talking about, 10 or 14? There's 14 governmental agencies that contribute to the Ag Center in the state of Louisiana. 14. Where does Iberia rank? Number 10. Again, bottom of the barrel. Bottom of the barrel, ladies and gentlemen. Bottom of the barrel. So you're going to invest $34,000 on a $72 million budget, and you're going to try to reduce that budget to zero? Give me a break. Give me a break. 60. The average that each municipality gives to the LSU Ag Center is around $60,000, give or take. We give 34. You guys are getting off cheap, real cheap. Right now, this parish can't afford to mess with the economic development or the economic industry that's driving this parish. We know the oil field is in dismal shape. We're on the backs of the ag industry right now. Support the Ag Center. Support them whatever you can, as much as you can, because it's not only important for the farmers in this community, but it's important for the kids, the 4-H kids. If we want a future in the ag industry, we have to support the 4-Hers and bring farmers to the table so they can take our place. That's how important it is. And I appreciate your time tonight, but I truly think that this is a no-brainer and it's an easy decision on your part. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Want to say something? You good? Okay.
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky. Anyone else want to comment on non-agenda items? If not, I need a motion to go back in the regular section. Moved by Lloyd.
Eugene.
I'm sorry. Okay, please, introduce yourself.
Eugene, if he's gonna, I mean, I know he knows a lot about the building, can we wait until we get into that fund to
If you
have him
want to
here?
do, yeah, that's fine.
If you wouldn't mind,
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I need a motion by Lloyd, second by Warren. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carried. Okay, reports, finance and administration action, there is none. Reports, parish other governmental agency, there is none. Public works report, none. Special business, none. Council member announcements. Any council member have any announcements? Okay, if not, we'll move on to parish president announcement. I think Scott Sonier is on the phone right now. He will go ahead and give the parish president announcement. Scott, you're on.
Thank you, Eugene. President Richard regretfully could not attend this evening's meeting due to a family emergency. I ask that you keep Mr. Richard and his family in your prayers. He did ask that I report on the following information. Public Works completed the following during the period of November 4th through December 1st, and I'll present it in this format. First, it'll be the type of work performed, and the second will be the location of the district. So catch basins in District 13, drainage in Districts 10 and 11, grading of roads in District 10, 13, and 14, road crossings, District 9, road patching, and the easiest way I can do this is to tell you which districts they didn't work in. That would be District 1, 4, and 7. Road repair, District 10, and shoulder work in District 14. So in addition, we have some updates on projects, and we'll begin with the damages to the Sugarcane Festival building. We've been in communications with our insurance carrier and adjuster. At present, we're waiting to receive a final quote from one more contractor, at which point the insurance company will authorize us to proceed with the cleanup and the repairs at that facility. I want everybody to please know that the parish wants that building made available for utilization as soon as possible, but we want to do so in a safe manner. The second one is the renovations to the Robert B. Greene Veterans Memorial Building. Demolition is complete, and the components for the metal building have been delivered to the site. Construction is expected to begin on Monday. Replacement of the courthouse roof. The bid was awarded to Frisco Industrial. A pre-construction meeting was held to address logistical challenges. The materials have been ordered and preliminary work has begun, and the contractor is expected to mobilize within the next 2 weeks. And finally, the Acadiana Regional Access Road. Mobilization of equipment has begun. They started that on Monday, which signals the beginning of the construction phase of the Acadiana Regional Access Road. Now, as we are focused on the budget this evening, the parish president would like to review information which has been discussed in the past, but he feels warrants a little review. The review is focused on the royalty fund, the general fund, overall cost cutting, and current year-to-date sales tax collections. He hopes that this will provide information to the public that the parish council and the parish administration are making appropriate adjustments and decisions in a fiscally responsible manner. We provided a 4-page handout to each council member. These are just worksheets that we use on a day-to-day basis. So they're not, I guess, presentation quality, but the first page is related to the royalty fund. The major issue facing Iberia Parish related to the budget is the decrease in revenue within the royalty fund. This fund, as you recall, pays for debt obligations related to bridge and road work, which was incurred years ago. Royalty revenues is heavily impacted by the price of oil, which is something the parish has no control over. From 2008 to 2020, the annual revenue received has declined from $6.7 million to some $300,000. This amounts to about a $6.4 million decrease. Our debt has increased in the same period from 2008 to the present of $483,000 to $1.4 million. On a positive note, the council recently took corrective action to refinance some debt This will allow the parish to continue operations within the parameters required to meet our debt obligation. Number 2, as reported previously through adjustments to the operation and decrease in expenditures, and this will be on the second page. The cash days available and fund days available within the general fund have been drastically increased. Year 2015 saw 30 cash days available and 47 fund balance days available. 2019, we had 90 cash days available and 131 fund balance days available. That change reflects an increase in cash days available of 60 days and 84 days increase in fund balance days available. Third page, general fund revenues and expenditures. In 2015, we saw expenditures exceed revenues. Initial adjustments during 2016 resulted in a balanced fund budget. Although revenues have continued to decline, we did see an uptick in 2019. The cost-cutting measures, however, continued and have resulted in a decrease in daily expenditures of roughly $3,700. That amounts to nearly $1 million per year in savings. Lastly, the last page reflects sales tax year-to-date data, shows that our projections were on target, and at this point in this year, some funds have exceeded expectation. The others are predicted to either meet or exceed expectations as we proceed. We've got 1 month left, so the projection is that we'll either meet or exceed those projections. In closing, I want to reiterate the statement that as an administration and council, appropriate actions have and continue to be made in an effort to be fiscally responsible to the citizens of Iberia Parish. The budget presented by the administration is, again, a balanced budget, which is meeting the requirement placed upon us by the citizens of Iberia Parish. I want to thank our staff for continuing to be mindful of spending, and specifically to our Director of Finance for her diligence and integrity. She works tirelessly to assure we present a balanced budget, and I can assure you her expectations for cutting expenditures is without question throughout the operation. I will end with asking you to keep the parish president and his family in your prayers. Thank you.
Got a question.
Okay, Scott, we got a question for you. Warren?
Scott, how you doing tonight, buddy? Did he get off?
I'm tired, Warren, but I'm good.
Sounds like him. Good to hear from you, Scott. Question for you would be going back to the...
I'm old, Warren.
Question would be going back to the roof repairs and the scope of work that you're doing. Can you elaborate a little more on as far as what we're doing to the replacement of the roof and what would be the available costs?
I don't have the available costs in front of me right now, Warren, but I know it's about half of what we originally projected. The only difference is going to be they found some moisture, which could be expected under the outer layer, I guess is the best way to describe it. So we've got to remove. There's some gravel and things like that have to be taken off, which is going to be utilized by Public Works. So as I understand it, once we complete that part, they'll be able to begin the work to actually replacing the roof itself, which should take place in about 2 weeks. But if I'm not mistaken, originally we had budgeted around $600,000, or we had talked about $600,000 for the whole roof. And if I'm not mistaken, the material they're using now, the original price came in at about half of that, maybe around $300,000. Kim could probably, she's probably got that information. But with the moisture, we're not sure. It shouldn't be that bad, but it's going to be a little bit in addition to the $300,000.
So it is the entire roof?
As I understand it.
Okay, so it should fix the judge's chambers problem and several other areas that we have, correct?
Yes. And the judge's chamber is the primary problem.
I'm all good. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, Warren. Any other questions for Scott?
you.
Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and we'll move on. We'll move on to consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. Minutes, regular meeting, November the 18th, 2020. I need a motion in a second. Moved by Paul.
Second.
Second by Tommy. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. We're going to go ahead and skip and move to the resolutions, 194 and 195. We need to do that before we get into the actual budget summaries. Resolution introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 194, introduced by the legal counsel. A resolution related to the annual operation budget of Iberia Parish government to establish a policy fixing the indirect administration cost allowance to be assessed to all parish agencies, including agencies governed by parish boards and commission, to provide for certain exceptions thereto, to provide for the effective date thereof, and to otherwise provide with the respect thereto. Note, language has to be updated by legal counsel. Percentage amount will be to determine during the discussion.
So move.
Moved by Paul, second by Warren. Paul,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to see if we would use the 1.5% across the board. I think some of the smaller agencies that their percentages was a little bit higher. And, you know, I think it would be the fairest rate amongst everybody. And because the finance department does, you know, carry a lot of weight with them, paying all the bills, reviewing purchase orders and things like that. And I think it's the fairest amount. You can't go anywhere else and get those services provided for you. So that would be my recommendation for the percentage to be determined.
okay, so you include that in the substitute motion once we finish the discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other discussion?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Warren?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I can, just to address Paul. So Paul, the 1.5% would generate roughly a little over 600,000, correct?
That is correct.
And you think that's enough money to get done what we need to do in the relief? Also, what you know, bond redemption, what we just did, you think we should be satisfied enough not going to 2%?
I think 1.5 is.
And that would just be the departmental bill bags. That's not.
That is correct.
That's not talking about the different department heads itself, correct?
That is correct.
Andy, did you kind of have that conversation with Kimberly about what we discussed in committee?
Yeah, I did not get into the percentages.
Okay.
I had a conversation with Larry and Kimberly. 1.5 is what they'll be asking for. We'd like to see happen. Yes. Warren, you still have the floor.
Yeah, I just, to go 0.5% more, we can get 200,000. And the reason I'm saying that is we still have a heavy debt service in the general fund. And we knew the other night, going back for the bond renewals, that it wasn't going to be enough. So just keep that in mind. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Paul?
And this would be, we would be able to determine this yearly. So,
Yeah,
you
no,
know, if
and that's the good thing about it.
Right, so if we decide that, you know, let all the agencies and boards get accustomed to it, you know, and if we gotta go up or down, we can move it every year.
And these were based on expenses, right? The determination of
Correct.
how we would collect. Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Paul, you want to go ahead and make a substitute motion?
Make a substitute motion that the administrative cost allocations to be assessed to the boards, agencies, and commissions would go with a 1.5% cost.
Okay, we have a second by Lloyd. No other discussion? Roll call. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 195, introduced by legal counsel. A resolution related to the annual operation budget of Iberia Parish government to establish a policy authorizing the replacement of a full-time employee with a part-time or contractual employee on a temporary basis when cost savings can be realized, to provide for the effective date thereto, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. The language has been updated by legal counsel.
Move.
I need a motion by Paul. I need a second.
Second.
Mr.
Second by
Chairman,
Brad.
Mr. Chairman, maybe we could go straight to Andy with this so he could explain.
Sure, Andy, you got the floor.
Okay, this, we ran into this problem during the year. If you look at your operating budgets, you have attached to it, really there's two parts to it. There's the financial part, but you also have a manning chart. And that manning chart, say, may reflect somebody as a full-time position. And sometimes during the year, that person may resign, retire, be terminated, whatever the case may be. So there was some question about whether or not the administration had the authority for a temporary period of time to replace that full-time person with a part-time person to save money. And so all this does is to say, notwithstanding the manning chart or the financial information that you find in your budget, that if the director of that agency, with the consent of the parish president, believes that it's cost effective to replace that person with a part-time or contractual person for a temporary period of time, if there's a cost savings. So the cost savings generally would be one of two things. Number one, if they're part-time or if they're contractual, there would be no insurance that you would be paying on that person, and nor would there be any match for retirement or for retirement. So there would be an automatic savings right there. And again, it's for a temporary basis until, because a lot of times, perhaps you have leave time that's been built up, and so it's hard to replace that person because the money's being used to pay the remainder of the leave. So this will just give some options to try to save money during the year. And again, it's temporary. What I envision by temporary is for that particular, the remainder of that particular budget year. You would then address it in the following budget if you determine that, hey, we can get by with a part-time position or a contractual position as opposed to a full-time one, or you can go back and replace it with a full-time if necessary in order to be able to handle all of the projects that that particular department or agency has. So that's, I think, a pretty good explanation of what it's for.
Thank you, Andy. Paul, any other comments?
I do that.
Warren?
So, Andy, I want to go back, and I'd like to have in the language, though, that the council be, it doesn't have to be as, it changes, but on a quarterly basis, the council knows the positions that we do have the cost savings in throughout the year. Because, you know, we just experienced the other day that there's a dual shift happening within two different departments. And, you know, it's a good thing for us to know so that we're able to get the information out to the people who's trying to contact those departments. And it doesn't have to be specifically department heads, but the overall manning, people participating in it.
Couldn't we just make that request throughout the
Well,
year?
If I were sitting in your position, probably what I would just simply like to do is when you have some of these reports that they provide to you before each council meeting, that would be a good time within the report.
So kind of like
So
public
maybe you have
works
another
and-
one that says employee changes or something like that, that you might, that would be a good way to get the information to you.
So you don't want to put it in amend the language here, or do you want to just, I guess at the request of the council, have the parish president or the president's office to give that to us in an updated report? It doesn't have to be each council, I mean, each council meeting, it could be a quarterly, but, you know.
I would think whenever the council will request that information, we can forward that to the administration and we should have it at the next
So you
meeting.
could always amend it if you weren't getting what you thought you needed in order to
Okay.
make your reports. You could always amend it to call for a specific report, but that would be my suggestion.
But us doing this doesn't have to change the descriptions in the manning themselves. It just is granting authority to give the part-time
Yeah, just on a
procurement.
temporary, again, just on a temporary basis.
I'm good.
James?
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we can have a little further discussion with it.
We got a motion on the floor of the table for further discussion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Warren. All those in favor, raise a hand, please. We got James, Warren, Scott, and Brian. And Lady Brown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That motion fails. Okay, back to the original motion.
Sir, can you go through it? How many yeas and nays for the record?
Okay, we have 1, 2. Are you a yea or nay? Okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You need to specify you on the substitute.
Correct.
Which one are you?
I think Lloyd's.
It's on the substitute. We're on the substitute. To table. Okay, we're verifying the amount of people who voted for the table. Okay, we got James. We got hands up again. Warren, Scott, Brian, and Lady Brown. That's
Five,
4.
right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Correct.
Okay, now those that's Nay. Nay is Paul, Brad, Eugene, Chad, Tommy, and Lloyd Brown. That motion fails. Back to the original motion. Had a motion by Paul and a second by Brad. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising their hand. It's Lloyd, Tommy, Chad, Eugene, James, Paul.
No, not James. Not James.
Oh, not James.
Brad.
Not James, Brad. I'm sorry. Brad Renner, not James. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That failed.
That's 6. That motion fails.
Can you record the nay votes also?
Raise a hand on nay votes. James, Warren, Scott, Brian, and Lady Fontenot Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we're going ahead and move into the ordinances. We're going to begin with summary number 5064, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 general fund budget of revenues and expenditures.
So moved.
Moved by Warren,
Second.
second by Paul.
Mr. Chairman, did you want to allow the finance director to go first before?
Yeah, Kim? Kim, you're on summary number 5064, the general fund. You want to give us an update on the changes that's going to be taking place?
Superintendent Cenzillo, earlier in the week, I believe, relative to the debt. So originally, the budget was presented with a deficit of $551,000. As a result of the refunding of the debt, that deficit would reduce down to $19,000. So ending fund balance at the end of 2021 would be about 2.4. So, and then in addition to that, you would also have the change that you would have to make for the indirect costs, which should be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $300,000 more. So you would have a surplus of about 290. About 280,000, and then we would have probably about 2.7 million in fund balance at the end of 2021.
So you would have a surplus, you saying, where we at now?
With the so the refunding of the debt would have to, you know, the administration has proposed the adjustment for the refunding of the debt, and then in addition to that, as a result of the 1.5% adjustment on the indirect costs, that's going to generate an extra $300,000 in income for general fund. So it would be a surplus of about $280,000. And I can't really do math too good in my head, so like.
No, that's close enough.
Okay, Warren?
Yeah, Kim, I've got a couple of questions. As far as the Avalon income, I see, I mean, based it flat. I mean, with COVID and everything going on, I mean, do you think we expected to see a flat number of those numbers coming in?
So, y'all did roll back in general fund. I think, you know, I think the only one that stayed the same was bond redemption for the library as well as the library itself. So by rolling back, you're going to be at the same level of revenue. The only thing is, you know, even with the assessed value being higher, and the potential for any adjustments that are going to happen. We won't know those adjustments until, you know, later on in the tax year. Typically, we don't get notice. That notice comes from the assessor and the sheriff. They get notice of those tax adjustments through the Louisiana Tax Commission. We don't. Typically, our gauge for that is our, you know, our checks that we collect monthly.
Okay.
So we won't know that until, you know,
So
probably
we could
sometime.
have some increase than what you budget now, possible, but then we could have a decrease.
Decrease, yeah.
Because some people may not be able to even pay these tax rules.
Yeah, well, so typically there's a process, you know, I mean, if they're not able to pay their taxes, their property is sold at tax sale.
Correct.
So that's,
I guess this next question would be for Scott. We talked last year, is he he's still online?
It should be, yes.
Scott, we talked last year about the inspection administration, about us doing a third-party inspection with parish inspectors. Have we had that conversation yet about bringing it back here, maybe creating a position that's in-house of someone who answers to our administration directly, that knows our changes here? Have we talked about that?
Yeah, we're continuing to have those conversations and to look for ways that we might be able to do this in a, I guess, in an efficient and fiscally responsible way. The problem continues to be the costs associated with it. But look, we're still having the conversations. We're actually, I think we had a meeting 2 weeks ago on this very subject. So that's moving forward. Again, it boils down to finance when we talk about it. I will say this though, Reed is doing a really good job, and in regards to the efficiency of what we're doing, we're doing everything we can to streamline our process at this point.
And I do agree with you about Reed. I think Reed he's doing a pretty good job. I think my question would be for you too, is there still conversations with the city about having a one unit city and parish inspection?
That would be a question for Larry.
Okay.
I would suggest that, and Warren, I would be happy to pose that to him when he's able to return, and I'm sure he'd be more than willing to speak to you on that.
I appreciate that, Scott. Okay, I guess since Kim's finished, are you allowing the amendments now, or?
I'm allowing the amendments now, yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, and Kim, while you're here, I'd like to amend the general fund budget to include refunding of the county agent that was once held in the royalty fund at about the amount of $25,000. I'll make a motion to do that currently, please.
You have more amendments to make? That's the only one?
Well, I know there'll be some more to come up, but I'd like to start with that, please.
I'll
and then
second that.
instead of grouping those two together.
Andy, you want to? Can we vote on each budget amendment before we vote on the final motion? I'm gonna.
We do it often.
I think we should.
We can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We have an amendment on the floor. $25,000
for the county agent.
County agent.
To create a line item to fund them $25,000. Mr. Chairman, while I'm here, I'd like to yield a few minutes to Blair Abear with the LSU Ag Center, just to kind of give the viewers exactly what his department does and the reason why it's so critical for us to fund it.
Okay, I'll allow it. Blair,
Mr. Chairman.
you want to step up?
Thank you, Mr. Eugene, and good evening to all the councilmen and those of you who are outside or on the phone. If I understood what Mr. Warren was asking, the Ag Center here in Iberia Parish is actually represented by two units, the Research Station in Jeanerette and the Iberia Extension Office. The budget in question is the one for the Iberia Extension Office, in which we do have a memorandum of understanding that we've been having for several years. We have one with the Iberia Parish School Board and with the Iberia Parish government. We basically cover three areas: agriculture and natural resources is the first one alphabetically, then family and consumer sciences, and our 4-H youth development program. Through our traditional 4-H program that gets a lot of the publicity, whether that's a livestock show out of the Sugarcane or shooting sports, or when we take 4-H members to 4-H camp. Even with COVID last year, we were still maintaining about 800, but throughout non-traditional and other areas that we reach kids, that reaches over 4,000 youth. Every school in the parish, private, parochial, or public. Family and consumer sciences, what we try to do is help people. I'm not the only person in this area that deals with health issues and maybe being a little overweight. So that's one of the main things we do. We do have some special fundings that we're able to have a nutrition educator here in Iberia Parish, and that's mostly targeted at low-income areas. Folks that are at low income, they seem to be the ones that have some of the bigger issues, and they just don't know how to get the services. So we try to get and reach out to them and do that. And then we get to agriculture and natural resources. That's probably the one that everybody knows. We have 60,000 plus acres of sugarcane in Iberia Parish. Up until 2020, that made us the largest sugarcane producing parish in the state. We got surpassed by about 1,500 acres this year. Like Mr. Gonzalez said, actually 2019 was not a great year. It was bad for the farmers, bad for the mills. We're actually down. That 72 million he quoted you in the previous 3 years had been more like 90 million. So when that farming has a bad year, and I know we have some folks in the audience here who are involved in that. There's not a stalk of cane that's planted in Louisiana that is not developed through our variety development program that the Ag Center partners with USDA and the American Sugarcane League. And the rest of Mr. Gonzalez's numbers, I think, are pretty accurate. Our regional administrator is here, who is also an ag economist by trade. So if y'all have any questions with those, I'm going to refer them to Dr. Guidry. He's a little more qualified than me. And also, fisheries is big here. That's about a $10 million farm gate industry, whether that's crawfish or shrimp. We've talked to y'all about everything we do at Delcom Direct is just an example of what we do in Delcom. And then we can't forget our livestock, our cattle, our horses and things of that nature. That's worth another 10 million. Those did not fluctuate in 19. Actually, those went slightly up in 2019. The big hit for us in 2019 was just a light year in tonnage and a not so great year in sugar. It brought our overall pounds of sugar from about 8,000 to around 6,700, and that's where you see that lost revenue. And because it was so muddy, and again, these guys can attest better than I can, cut into their profit as well. Is a lot more expensive. So, Mr. Warren, I'm not sure if that's what you wanted me to discuss or I answered your question, but again, I appreciate the time, and we appreciate all the support, and we just want to make sure that everybody understands, just like some of the other people who spoke here tonight, we do understand. We live here in the parish. We work in the parish. We know that there's issues with the budget. We just like that our cut is representative to our budget, not to take possibly a 100% cut. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I can't say any more. I mean, he did it perfect. I'll relieve to anyone that want to debate.
Okay. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Blair, thank you. Thank you very much. And to Ricky, I see he left. But just to go on the record and say, after hearing those two guys, and look, we in Sugar Parish. The Sugarcane Festival is here, and it's not all that the Ag Center does. But look, we are in desperate times, no doubt. But this is so important. I'm almost begging all of y'all to really think about this before you vote. For them to even we should be funding them fully. You know what Ricky said. We number 10 out of 14 that fund them. It's almost embarrassing a little bit to say that we down that far. But for them to accept saying that 25 was good, and please think about that. Think about all that they do, all that the farming, the fisheries do for us here. That's a minimal amount. So before we vote, actually think about that. There are other places that we could cut that it won't hurt so much as what they do, and they do a lot for the kids also. So please think about that before you vote. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Brian. Tommy?
Yeah, it's a lot of times that I don't agree with Brian said, but tonight
What?
I'll just have to back him on that. You know, the 4-H is really good for the kids in the parish, and another thing, you know, for the sugar industry to be here in Iberia Parish, and we down to number 10, look like we should be a little higher than that, but I'm gonna go ahead on and I will support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Paul?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add another amendment to that. I'd like to see us put back into the budget the 30,000 for the water and lights at the Pepperplex.
Okay, can we vote on this one first?
Wait,
before we move on?
yeah, he don't
Okay,
have
we're
to,
not
you
gonna-
can't, I mean,
We're not gonna group them together?
no, that's what it was
we
asking.
voted.
And I don't have a problem seconding that if you wanted to do that right after, but we can't substitute.
go ahead and-
substitute.
We'll go ahead and just add, put on all the amendments and put them in one motion for the final vote on the ordinance. Okay?
This is for the First Amendment, right?
Yeah, for the First Amendment, but before we go there, I have one comment on that. I'm going to support the county agent office myself personally. But if y'all remember during the millage process, we had the opportunity to roll the millages forward to grab extra $35,000 to fund extra funding in the general fund, and we elected not to. Okay, so I just want to make sure that y'all are aware that when we're looking at millages in the future, all these little projects like this could be funded if we make the right decision when it comes to millages.
Raise
Thank you.
taxes.
All right. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Is there any nays? Okay. That motion carries for the county agents, including that 25,000 in the budget. Paul?
Mr.
you're up.
Eugene,
Yes.
Mr. Eugene,
Yes.
I don't think we got a second on that motion.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have a
Did
second.
someone make a second?
I have a
Brian.
second by Brian. Warren motion and Brian second.
Oh.
Got it?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Paul?
Make an amendment to add the 30,000 back into the Pepperplex.
Paul, if I can, for the record, the total amount that we paid actually in 2020 was $35,966.62.
Okay.
Did you want
Yeah, well, let's go by 38.
some extra time in the field?
When the money isn't spent, it just goes back into fund balance, so y'all get it back. We don't have to come back
Quoting
and deal
somebody
with it.
verbatim?
Huh?
Did you catch a second on it?
I'll
second it. I'll second it.
Brad will second it.
I just think that, place is kind of hanging on by a thread, and I think defunding it completely would, kind of put a nail in its coffin over there. And I think, like I said, all the other parishes around us are investing heavily in their youth sports and youth activities, and, I think it's the least we could do to keep that place going.
Any other comments? I think 38 is a little much. I think the 30 might have been a better solution on this, but I think I won't support the 38, but I could support a 30,000.
It's costing us 36.
budget. I know, but we also made some changes in the county agent's office too. It's only fair.
Understand.
Okay.
Well, we just added 925,000 from the refinance, and we just added another 300,000 from the adjustment to the boards and stuff. You got $1.2 million right there. I just don't think $8,000. What isn't used goes back into the fund balance every year.
Mr. Chairman, I do want to urge Paul that I didn't support those two measures to go and spend all the money. I do believe in funding kid programs, which is very limited as it is now.
And we can,
And I would urge us, that money is to stash some away for another rainy day that hadn't left us yet.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay, we got a Tommy?
Yes, Paul, I'm kind of like Eugene, you asking for 38, and we just gave the county agent, they had 34,000 now. We gonna go ahead on and give them 25, and you asking for the full amount for the Pepperplex.
well, let's just change the substitute back.
No, it was actually 30. It was actually 30,000. I'm sorry. I was
Oh, it wasn't
talking
35?
about the
Okay.
county agent. It's
Okay.
30,000 even.
Okay.
All right, well, I can
You-
support the
we can go
30,
to
but
30?
I can't
That's good.
support
You
30.
correct your motion to 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Any other comments? We got a substitute motion on the floor
So it's 30.
30, yeah.
by Paul and a second by Brad to Pepperplex fund budget amendment to $30,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, so be.
Mr. Chairman,
Warren,
I'll have another amendment.
go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to amend the general fund travel allowance budget. Item number 011000558,000, which is the council travel fund, from 10,000 to 3,000, and that will help pay for some of the expenses that we just incurred.
Second.
We have a motion by Warren to adjust the travel fund budget for the council from $10,000
Correct.
to $3,000.
So just for the record, currently, as far as the budget, is reflecting that we spent a little over $2,600 out of $10,000 that was budgeted this year.
Mhm.
And I'd like to cut next year's from 10,000 to 3,000.
Okay. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Nay.
Tom is the only one that nays this vote. This motion carries. Brenda?
Mr. Eugene,
Yes.
I'm sorry, who put that second on that one?
Brian.
Brian?
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
talk loud.
It's Warren, motion, and Brian second. Anybody else?
Technical minutes.
Anyone else? Any other amendments?
I got a question for Kim. One more, and then I'll let go, and we can move on. At one point, we were collecting pretty big dollars from the general marshal's office. I see it's down to 36,000, which it was last year. Can you bring in Kim? Are we still? I know we had Kim. Wouldn't we collecting
We were.
a couple of $100,000?
Shoot, yeah.
I don't know if it was a couple of 100,000,
Oh, yeah.
but it was
It was
probably upwards of 150, yeah.
Okay, so have we had any discussion with them to?
So I had asked earlier in the year, and there was a comment about the sheriff's race. Also, I think maybe Generette itself was without a police chief for a while, so they
Okay.
were utilizing the marshal's office. And that's where the money's coming from, is the marshal's office.
That was my only question. I knew at one time, and we were giving them money also from the,
But we're still giving them money.
right.
I think it's 36.
Yeah,
Is it
it's 36.
Okay.
Mhm. 12,000 is for salaries, 24,000 is for office operations.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, there's any other discussion? Okay, we're moving on the summary number 5064 with the noted amendments to the county agent's office, the Pepperplex, and the travel line item. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5065, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021-16 judicial GDC Junior Witness Fee Fund budget of revenue and expenditures. Need a motion. Motion by Lloyd. Need a second by Paul. Any discussion? Lloyd? Paul?
Wait.
Anyone else? All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5066, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Road District Number 10 Maintenance Fund budget of revenues and expenditures. I need a motion in a second. Motion by Lloyd,
Second.
second by Paul. Any discussion?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Warren, you have the floor.
Okay, Kim, it looks like we're gonna add a new public worker in Road District 2021.
Are you referencing the vacant position?
Yeah.
It's not a new position, it's just a vacant
So
position.
did somebody retire and we're replacing someone?
I'm not quite sure how they left, but it's a position that was there last year that's vacant.
Scott might be able to answer that.
And it was vacant at the time of that, and since then, they may have filled it.
That would be my question, and then my question would be the two 12-foot utility trailers
Yes.
in the road district, is it because the other ones no longer work, or are we gonna add another trailer for
I'm
road
not-
maintenance?
I'm not sure if they're replacing or if, I remember in the discussions, Dexter had said that they would need them, to go and do the pothole patching.
Okay. Two new ones?
Yes.
I have Scott still
I
on.
believe
Yeah,
it's
if he can explain a little bit, because, I mean, at one time I thought we were down to one crew working on the road. So why would we need 2 trailers if we down to 1 crew?
Scott, you heard that question? Hey, Scott.
Yeah, and Dexter explained. Tell you that I'm here, Eugene. I'm gonna have to talk to Dexter. I can't remember exactly what the trailers were for. One, I think we're replacing some stuff, but they may be utilized for picking up debris too. But let me talk to Dexter. He's supposed to be back Monday. I don't know if I can get in. I can call him right now and try to get back to you on this, Eugene.
My only issue is if it's for the road district and we only have 1 crew, we don't need 2 trailers. I mean, if we're putting together another crew, then I understand, and it could very well be that. I mean, you know, I'll go back and say a lot of times you hear that we don't have money for roads, but we've taken in $1 million, and we're only able to put possibly $250,000, and it's less than that because I think y'all spend some more money for signs out of that also, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you take in 1 million, and we're only able to patch roads with less than 250,000. So, and look, the boys are doing the best that they have with what they have, but eventually down the road, we have to start figuring something out. And I know, obviously, we can't come up with it within the budget, that we're gonna have to look to other sources. But again, we take in $1 million for roads. So I want people to understand that, you know, it was said during the last election that we didn't have money for roads. That's not an accurate statement. So I'll let that be. But I you know, to me, if we're gonna put another road crew on, I'd like to know. Then if that's the case, then it makes sense. But till that point, I mean, can we wait on this and come back later to the year, mid-year adjustment?
It's up to the council.
I'm asking Scott.
Yeah, I'll talk to Dexter. And Warren, I'll say this, when those crews go out, typically when they're doing work like that, it's more than 1 truck and trailer that goes. They've got to carry material and equipment and other things. So I'll talk to Dexter and see what his intent is.
But you know what, I tell you what, Scott, for 4,000, I mean, I understand, I just want us to stress that we're very limited on what we can put on the roads, and I get the calls just like everybody else out in my streets, and it's at the point where you can't even repatch these roads anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I know they got to hold a bobcat around sometime when they're doing road patching, so I mean, it's multiple.
And they have
yeah.
equipment in Public Works and other funds to do that, but, okay, I'm good, thank you.
You good? Any other comments? Okay, we have a summary number 5066, Road District number 10 fund budget. Got a motion by Lloyd and a second by Paul. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5067, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 parish drainage maintenance fund budget of revenue and expenditures. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Lloyd.
Second.
Second by Paul. Discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Summary number 5068, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Public Library Board Fund budget of revenue and expenditures. Need a motion?
Move.
Motion by Lloyd, second by Brad. Discussion? Brad?
Yeah, after looking at it, looks like they were gonna be going into their fund balance about $700,000 this upcoming year. And I know during the budget process, we talked about, you know, the roofs for I think it was the St. Peter and Parkview branch. And I don't even ever think we got some clarification on those. I think that was, the architect had put those numbers together. I think we asked him if we could look for some other avenues, and I don't think anybody's heard back from them, but kind of do some research and things. I know the Generette repair and the desk, I mean, it sounds like it's in pretty bad, deplorable condition. And, you know, I would like to, you know, leave that money in there, but kind of revisit the 2 roofs for the other 2. And see if we, you know, have some further discussion, what type of roof we go back with, or you know, how, is there some cost savings? Do we need a Cadillac standing seam roof right now? Or can we look at it, what are our options really before we approve that? That's all I have.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think the board has an opportunity to shift line items, money for different areas also. Brian?
Brad is absolutely right. What's the director's name? I forget her.
Kathy.
Miss Kathy, I'm sorry, forgive me. When Miss Kathy came, so there was 2 line items for two buildings. So I want y'all to know that each one was figured at, if I'm not mistaken, $143,000 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm in that industry, that drew a red flag up for me. When we in the times we in right now, why would we spend $143,000 on each roof right now? I'm not saying they don't need it, and I asked her some questions about, you know, what type of roof is it? Did y'all look at maybe patching it for now? Did you look at, you know, maybe a regular metal roof that has exposed fasteners, a shingle roof? She couldn't answer it. I asked for some feedback. Brad's right. As far as I know, we never did get anything back. So I took it upon myself to call Mr. Gesser. And I spoke to Mr. Gesser about it and asked him, and he did give the numbers to Miss Kathy, and he did say it was for standing seam roof. And those of y'all that, and we've talked about a little bit, standing seam roof is by far the best, no doubt. I push that. I do that. It is the best. But in the times we at now, and going into their fund balance for $300,000 that they don't have to take out of their fund balance, to me is just it went over my head. I just couldn't understand that. And him and I kind of, you know, talked about it. And there are some benefits to going to standing seam, but right now, to me, the situation we in outweighs the reason for going to that. There are other options, and I'm like Brad, I'm asking y'all to consider stopping that right now. Let's revisit it early next year. Let's ask Miss Kathy to go back and let's get some prices on different ones, maybe patching it if they want to do a standing seam a couple years down the line. Can these roofs hold it? But right now, guys, and Lady Brown, I really believe, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert at nothing, but this is something that I do and been doing for a long time. I would not spend that money on that type of roof in the situation we at now. And going back to the General Library, they do, that's, I think it's total of maybe 31 plus 9 total. They don't get a whole lot of money, from what I understand, and their issues are far exceed what's going on in the 2 big ones. They really need it. So I agree with Brad. If we could leave those 2 in there and ask them to come back to us early next year, and because I don't want none of them leaking, but before we spend that amount of money, I think we need a little bit more information, and that's all. I'm with Brad. I'm asking for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So you're saying you want to make a budget amendment tonight, or leave the money in there and get those answers back to us before the work is done?
Well, so
I was saying just, I was thinking you could leave
it in there.
Well, I was thinking taking the 2 143s out, $243,000 out for the 2 roofs. You could leave the 31,665
and the 9,
95,68.
Just leave those 2 in and take the rest out. Not that we throwing it away, but leave that 40, whatever it is, and tell them to come back with a little more meat on the bone for us to look at early next year, right, Brad? I mean.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Mr. Chairman.
You done, Brian?
Yeah, thank you.
Scott?
I just wanted to clarify something, maybe somebody can help me. Going into the fund balance, if I remember right, was to finish paying them over in a cold total. Because their expenditures and revenues were actually matched. Just hit the budget.
Even before that, operations were running in the red.
Yeah. No, I just want to clarify.
Right, but even if you took the construction costs out, and Kim may be able to tell us more, you still were running in the red
Right.
in operations. Am I correct, Kim?
So I don't have all of it, I don't have my computer in front of me, but the last year before the construction started, I want to say that they had a surplus.
No, the surplus. Okay. I know we talked the last time when we decided the 2 years not to touch their millage. The reason they were running in fund balance, they were running a deficit. Because we said, well, they got pretty good fund balance, we'll eat away a little bit at that before we have to address it, and we didn't address it, so we're still here what we have.
But,
Lloyd?
but, what we did, we knew that we were gonna be short.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree.
We knew that. We knew that we had to go into the fund balance. Because we knew the villages.
No, we didn't lower the millage. The millage stayed flat.
We didn't get enough money from the villages to pay, and we knew that we were gonna go in the fund balance because they had a fund balance. But we knew that.
I agree. I agree to it.
But we knew that.
If I remember right, we went from 4 to 3.5 on the library millage, so they can use up some of the fund
Right.
balance throughout the year.
Maybe a couple, maybe back in
We
2017.
took that .50 and we increased the general fund and I think drainage and some
And
other.
that's a possibility, but I know the last 2
That way
years
we
it's
stayed
been flat.
millage neutral when we did that.
Right.
But the intent was back then to allow them to go into the fund balance, to use up some of the fund balance. Now, just for the record, the proposed fund balance for 2020 on 19 budget was $5,466,000. They're going to end up with $5,715,000 at the end of 2021. So we're actually increasing that fund balance.
At the end of 2020.
Even at the current rate.
At the end of 2020, right?
At the end of 2020, that fund balance is going to be $6,438. If you remember back in 19 when we adopted the budget, we expected that fund balance at the end of 2020 was supposed to be $5,466,000. So actually, through additional revenue and maybe other cost-saving adjustments, we actually increased that fund balance for 2020. Okay? And we're also going to have a higher fund balance than we adopted in 2019 for 2020.
Do you think some of that's contributed to COVID?
Probably so. I'm not sure what funding they got from the CARES Act. I'm not aware of
No,
that.
I don't think they did.
Right, yeah.
They did get some,
Did they?
Right, yeah.
There you go.
Correct, yeah.
but it's not a lot.
It's not a lot.
I can't remember if they got 30, I think they got about 30.
30,000?
Yeah. I don't know if anybody has their book. Yeah, so if you're looking at the library on page 9, if you look at the 2019 column all the way to the left, that's the actual from 2019. So it's showing a deficit of 203,000, and included in those numbers was about 500,000 from the capital projects of the new library, the reconstruction libraries. So that would leave you with a surplus of about 295.
Okay.
Some options.
I have one, maybe Brian, you might be able to answer this question. How critical the roof is right now that needs to be replaced? I mean, are we causing more damage
So that
by
was-
delaying this?
That was my question back in October, how bad is this roof? I really don't know, and that's what I asked Mr. Gesser again today, could y'all come tell us? The only thing that he told me is that the General Library was in dire need in the roof. The other two roofs, if I'm not mistaken, are shingles. They've lost some shingles in the storms and all that, but you do have an underlayment under there, felt, ice and water shield, whatever it is. I'm not saying it's not leaking at all. I'm saying I'm hoping it's in a situation where you know, we could wait that month or two and let them actually get somebody to go and evaluate it, which they should have done, in my opinion, anyway, so we can make a knowledgeable, come back with a knowledgeable answer, you know. If I could see some pictures, or I'd even go up there myself, but I was never asked, you know, and so, you know, it's just y'all to spend. I'm not saying it's not needed. I'm not saying that at all. Nobody said anything other than what I spoke to Mr. Gesser about. But to spend that amount of money when we in the situation now, put yourselves, what if it was you at your house and you know, you want that high dollar roof, but your hours are cut, you know, your salary's cut. Are you gonna spend that amount of money? Oh, man, you know.
I just have trouble taking the whole amount out. I'd rather plug a number in there
Well,
that's reasonable.
Well, the thing, Eugene, is here again is where I have a problem with the way they presented it to us, is because they didn't come back to us with that, what you were asking for. And then we can know, hey, do we need 50? Can we just patch it now? What about a shingle roof? You could probably do both of those roofs in shingle for less than the cost of wood. But we didn't have that. I think they need to now go back to that. It won't take long. I'd say in a few weeks, they could have all of that information we're talking about now. In early January, we can make those decisions.
Okay.
I mean,
Mr. Chairman, he makes a good point, and I want to just for the record, we pay someone to do that. We pay someone to go out and get a proposal, or at least look at the conditions of our buildings, how they're being utilized, but we don't get these reports back. I mean, Mr. Gesser, we pay him to do that. I mean, we've been paying him since 2017 to go out and look at our buildings, evaluate them. What are we utilizing? What's the rate of our public? What are they utilizing? So that we know what should be open, what shouldn't be open. You know, we paying a lot of expenses on these buildings, and we get in the budget, and we don't have all the information we need to vote on this. It makes it tough, because at the end of the day, there could be some other options that could save us down the road. And using your phrase, Mr. Chairman, is we could stretch the dollar.
Okay.
And one last thing, Mr. Chairman, is that remember, us around this table, it's on us.
That's right.
It's not on the administration, not on the library. Once we put our stamp of approval on that, if something, you know, the public's gonna come back to us, because we are approving it or disapproving it right here tonight. It's on us. The buck stops with us. So before you make that vote on any one of these things, remember that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you.
You have a question?
Eugene, this is Scott. Can I make a comment?
Yeah, Scott, go ahead.
Look, just a suggestion. I have a meeting with Gerald on Tuesday on a different matter, but we can have this discussion. I would suggest, look, I'm just suggesting this, just leave it as is. I don't know if they have contingencies in this, or if he's got multiple quotes. And Brian, I think you said you talked to him. I'm not quite sure. But I think I understand the information you're looking for. And we'll come back to you in the next meeting and tell you what he comes up with. And then you can make your adjustment at that point based on what he thinks the valuation of that project would be, with shingles, or if you even have suggestions, Brian, on what materials you think they should look at, just send that to me or call me tomorrow, and we can have that discussion with him on Tuesday and get back to you guys.
Okay, but me personally, I can't approve leaving that $300,000 in the budget. Just me personally. You know, we can always adjust it early next year. That's the whole thing, I think, that we were talking about tonight. I mean, let me ask you, if you leave it in and it's in, can we come back in January and take it out?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that. I'd rather add it later. I mean, that's just me. I mean, it's the way I run.
It's the wishes of the council.
But yeah, I mean, and look, that's just I'm just giving y'all my personal opinion, and take it like y'all see fit.
Lady Brown.
Okay, so pretty much, I was gonna ask, is there a problem with us leaving it there and before approving it, getting all the information that we need to decide whether or not we should go with the alternative option of shingles, or should we go with the other option, which is included in the budget? Are we not able to just leave the funding there and then pretty much make an
Yeah.
adjustment
In other
as
words,
is?
Funded pending clarification on the cost of the roof.
Right.
No, can't do that.
That's a day-to-day operation to leave.
Yeah, to me, Ms. Brown, is that, you know, I don't want to stop progress, but until we have the information to make the proper decision, I mean, to me, it sounds like it's not hard. You'd either have to table that whole item, or, and I think we're supposed to vote on all
We
this
wanna do that,
tonight.
yeah, right, yeah.
I say,
Okay.
just again, I would say, me personally, I'm with Brad, let's take those items out, let them come back with some meat on the bone, some information, and, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chairman, in January or so, once we have it, or February, we'll have the information, we might throw it all back in. But until we have that information, me personally, I represent taxpayers in District 11. I don't feel comfortable with leaving that amount of money in there when I think there's other options, especially when they're going into that fund balance so deep with total of $700,000+.
Okay, so what happens if, when the assessment comes back and it says, okay, this is the route to go, we have to vote on that? Is it guaranteed that we will put the funds back to cover the repairs? Is the council gonna vote
I don't think
to?
there's no guarantee on anything, but, you know, I think we all realize that something needs to be done, but, I mean, they didn't give us too many
Yeah,
options.
at that point, it'll be budget amendment, be
Yeah.
subject to vote back by this
Yeah.
council right here. Okay.
And we have tabled fund balances before. This wouldn't be something unusual for us to do, to come back a week or two from. I'm not suggesting we do it, but we've done it before and we've.
So we could table it?
I wouldn't want to, I'd rather take this out if y'all gonna do that. Andy, go ahead.
If you table any of these, you're going to not be able to pass your budget tonight in a timely manner like you have strived to do. I think it would be a bad precedent for you to put something in only to turn right around and take it out. So I think your best option here is to, I'm just reading the tea leaves, I'm just, you know, is that take it out, pass your budget, and have them come back with the information you need, knowing full well that these roofs need some repair. And let them come, either the library or whomever, come to the council and explain the need and why they think a certain type of roof at this cost is what you need, and then add it back. You are correct. You do budget amendments throughout the year based upon things that change, and so you know, that would certainly be appropriate. I guess I would just hate to see you get in a bind where you've tabled one of these, you can't adopt your overall budget.
Right, I got you. Yeah, that makes sense.
So is there an issue with leaving it in the budget and then coming back and making the necessary adjustments? Is there an issue with just leaving it in the budget and coming back to make an adjustment?
I think it sets a really bad precedent to put something in the budget only to say, I'm fixing to take it back, I just wanted it in here so I can pass it. I think you're better off from a business point of view to take it out, pass your budget, come back when you have all the facts and add it back in there. I mean, in theory, once you pass it, you know, a director can go out and spend it because it's in the budget.
In the budget, yeah.
So you're better off.
Okay.
Again,
I agree with that.
I think everybody agrees that those roofs need some type
Right.
of work. It's just that you're trying to get to the bottom of what is that.
So we wouldn't have an option of approving it once it's in the budget? Like, if they came back and said, so you're saying like, once it's in there, the director can go and spend it as is? Okay.
Theoretically, any line out here.
Yeah, until we decide to take it out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and we don't wanna do that, yeah.
Oh,
Right.
Okay, you good, Larry Brown?
mhm.
I just told Mr. Sonia, whenever you have the discussion, first of all, copper shingle is in Cadillac. But I also asked for different metal options, and they never figured out about U-panel or.
Right, right.
Or is it just cosmetics is the standard scheme? I don't know.
So,
Like,
you
is there a
wanna
reason?
answer? You want me to answer?
This is all technical. Should we be
Yeah.
talking about that tonight, or should we wait until we
That's
get
mainly for Mr. Sonia to ask when he has the meeting. That's why I
Okay,
brought it up.
all right, okay.
No, but you're right, you're right.
We got a substitute motion. Anybody else? Remove the $243,000 from the roof repair budget?
Mm-mm.
286.
No,
Mm-mm.
keeping
But
generator.
I think you wanted to keep generating.
Leave
Yeah.
generate and take the rest out. Brad had it right.
It was two.
It's 143 twice.
Eugene,
286.
leave generate both items and take out
Didn't they have something?
526,000.
That's what
The
the
239 and the two 143.
No, you're right, Kim.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
286.
Okay, wait, well, we need clarification here. Brad, it's your motion. Give us a clarification of what we're taking out.
The two 143s for the two roofs.
Okay? Taking out the two 143 for the
Yeah.
two roofs.
That's my motion.
That's it.
It's 286.
286.
Kim said.
We're removing from the budget. Okay, any questions?
So I just want to make sure I understand that part. In there was the two roofs, there was the two items for generate. That was it.
No, there was another 75% main library to do all kind of roof and boxes and upstairs lighting with LED bulbs.
So how much was that for?
That was 239.
239,000?
Right.
So, we want to leave that in there?
Well, that was part of the capital outlay.
That was part, Kim?
That appropriation has already started.
Okay, never mind.
That was something that started in 2020, that they're gonna finish in 2021.
Yeah, so that money's already.
Spoken for.
My
Yeah.
bad, my bad. I apologize.
Buy 'em candles.
All right. Buy some candles?
So it's just the two 143,000.
So that's
So
all we're taking out?
286, okay. Lloyd made a substitute motion to remove the $286,000 from the library budget.
Second.
Dealing with the roof, and a second from Paul. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries.
That was the substitute. Just,
Okay, summary number,
no, you have to go back. That was just a substitution to remove from the line item. You have to pass the budget
oh,
itself.
that's right, I'm sorry, yeah. Now we're gonna go ahead and pass the budget. Summary number 5068, the library fund budget. I need
You already had a motion and a second.
I had a motion by Lloyd and a second by Brad. As amended. As amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5069, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Fire Protection District Number 1 fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Need a motion and a second. Moved by Lloyd. Second. Second by Paul. Discussion.
Yeah, I do. Kim, so we're gonna receive 630,000, we already have gotten the 630,000 from the Fed's CARE Act, right? And the principal payment is gonna be completed for the debt service? For the, okay, so they used part of that money to pay it, or that was already being taken out?
No, so the CARES money was not even anticipated in 2020. And it's actually more than 630. At the time that we did these reports, that's what they had received. There was an additional installment that we got.
How much?
I'm not sure.
So the chief does, he's not here tonight. The chief doesn't have a plan for the 630 yet, right? Because I know we had talked couple years ago about the bunker gears, a little bit at a time, and I see that that's in the budget about
No, so
replacing.
I don't think that they've done a whole lot, like, really, because the only thing, we have $25,000 or $30,000 that's appropriated for capital in this year's budget. And it's not really identified. I think it's just identified some miscellaneous
That was gonna
equipment.
be the next question I had.
And I think the goal for 2021 is to pay off the debt and kind of get that behind them.
Okay.
Because that won't be paid off until March. So they're going to collect property taxes. You know, we started collecting. They'll pretty much be finished by February and March. They're going to make their debt service payment and be finished with that.
And they could possibly be getting more money in case the
Well-
government goes.
Well, I think we would need an additional allocation in order to get more money beyond what we've gotten, like as of, you know, a couple days ago.
Okay, so he didn't express to you exactly what the plan is. I mean, there's, number one is priority is to pay debt service off, get
Correct.
that behind him. I mean, I'd like to have that conversation with him, but we can do that another night about the bunker gears. I know
I mean,
that
if
was
you-
very important to him. I know
Yeah.
he was doing some each year, and I wanted to see where he was percentage-wise of replacing them.
I know he did talk. I don't remember if he did it in the budget committee or if it was in our administration meeting.
Okay.
They have applied for a grant, and they have had, you know, those grant applications in the past. They had not been approved in the past. I've not heard if they've been approved, you know, as of to date. But if you look at fund balance on page 8, they still slightly short.
Yes.
So once we're gonna have the final tabulation on exactly how the projection pans out with what they got from CARES, that number is gonna be higher. But they still need to have, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of, you know, 3 million and higher than that in order to continue to cash flow their operations so that they don't run into trouble like they did a couple years ago.
And Kim, if you wouldn't mind, please, when you get a chance to email us to let us know what the exact number is for the CARES Act on this initial payment that you just got.
Yeah, I think we got it in November, so when the November financial report comes out, it'll be in there as
That's
well.
fine.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any other comments? We got a motion by Lloyd and a second by Paul. Summary number 5069. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Summary number 57, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Rabies Control Program Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Need a motion and a second. Moved by Lloyd. Need a second. Second by Tommy. Any discussion?
I do.
Go ahead.
Kim and Scott, I mean, okay, so we talked for the last 2 fiscal budgets coming into the third year about the conditions of the floor in the pound. Scott, where are we at with the floors? I see we spent some money in 2019, and I know there was an upgrade or installment of AC units and possibly some electrical upgrades to be able to hold it. Where are we with the floors in the pound?
I know it's not been done. To tell you exactly where it is, I'm not 100% certain. I did carry the money over to 2021, you know, with the expectation that, you know,
But
that
how
money
did we
would
know
be used.
35,000 was enough? At one point,
Yeah, I don't
we
know.
funded, was it 80,000 or 70-some thousand?
Uh,
And the administration spent money on the AC units and upgrading the electrical
But I-
circuit to do it.
I believe this 35,000 came last year at the very, very end. 2020, when we were doing the adoption, there was the $35,000 that was amended in to put the floor improvement.
Well, that's 76, we had 76,000 that was actually spent, and I think we.
That was in 19.
Right, I think the council, I think at the time, I made the motion for around 80,000, and that was to be intended for Mr. Gerald to go out and look at the floors and Scott to determine what needed to happen. You know, we had employee issues with the floor. I mean, you know, it's the third budget cycle, we need to get that taken care of. And I know it's not you, Kim, I'm just stressing that it's an issue, it's a safety issue for our employees, and our employees are number one when it comes to work environments. What about these kennel deals, 36,000? I know they talked about replacing some of these kennels for aggressive dogs. Is that part of the plan? Is that?
So in the budget hearings, Sonia was here. I know she's no longer employed with parish government, but there was, she kept explaining that, you know, that there's an issue with the kennels, you know, that they're old, that they rust out, that they're not, you know, set up the way, I guess, Scott, you were here. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it's something about animal safety and that kind of, Because I know one time she told me that, like,
Hey,
an animal
Kim.
had gotten.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, I am.
Go ahead, Scott.
The, in regards to the kennels that she presented to us, she said it would actually decrease the number of kennels we had, but they would be more appropriate for what we're doing. And at that point, because we'd have to take the old kennels out to be able to install the new ones, that's when we would deal with the floor.
So where are we with the floor?
So the design on the, say it again?
Where are we with the floor?
Well, that's what I'm telling you, Warren.
Okay,
If we're gonna replace kennels, that's the time to do it. We were trying to do the whole project to where it made sense. You have to remove everything to be able to do what we need to do with the floors and put them back in. Since we put the climate control stuff in there, it's not as bad as it was before.
So is the $35,000 for the kennels enough? I guess it's enough for the initial, to remove the kennels, but is the $35,000 enough for the floor, to redo the floor like we need it to be?
I'd have to go back and look. I'd have to go back and look at it more.
Okay.
The 36,000, I think, and Kim, I think that was for the kennels itself that she's proposing now.
And I don't believe that that's all kennels, you know. I believe that that was, I want to say she had said it's about 6 or 8 kennels. Like, it's not, it wouldn't be like all the kennels.
All right, and Kim, why was there such an increase in workman's comp? Why are we budgeting $2,800 in workman's comp, a 12% increase? Is there any particular reason?
I mean, if you look at what the expenditures were in 2019, it was $2,500. We
Okay.
budgeted $2,500 in 2020.
Okay.
The actual expense looks like it's going to be about 28, and we just, you know, kept it at that same level. I guess percentage-wise, you know, I mean, it might look like a lot, but it lands up being about $300.
I just wondering, I seen that, I didn't see that in various funds, and I seen it in this one. And I guess the next deal is, I know the,
On the workers' comp, is that what you have?
yeah, yes, sir.
You know, keep in mind that what happens on workers' comp is they quote us a fee.
Correct.
Then they audit and they look at your overall employees, how much you spent.
Okay.
Then they come back and you may get a supplemental bump in what your.
So it applies to individual funds or overall, all different departments? Because I didn't see this in most of the departments, that's why I was asking.
It's all.
It's all of them?
Mhm.
We had a 12% increase in all of them? I'm just asking. That's fine, it was just a question I had, and also, I know the vehicle condition is very poor for the pound, it's for the animal clinic itself. Have we talked about replacing it? Because we're spending $11,000 a year on maintenance and, vehicle maintenance.
I believe that there's 3 vehicles.
Right, but I thought she
100%
said the last
I wanna
time we
say
were
that
here a
there's
year
3.
ago that the truck condition wasn't, I mean, something needed to happen.
That was not requested, you know, like to replace a vehicle. I mean, I know that, you know, periodically there'll be vehicles that become available through other departments,
Okay.
you know, that we could possibly look at, you know, transferring a surplus, you know, there to maybe something that would be better than what they currently have.
All right, Scott, I'd like for you to please stay on the floor issue. You know, we've had this conversation numerous times. If you need to come back to the council, I mean, it's the priority of the council to make sure that our employees are protected, and let us know what we need to do to get that done. I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Warren. Any other comments? Okay, we got the motion on the floor. Lloyd motion, Tommy second. Summary number 5070.
You need to vote, huh?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Summary number 5071, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Health Unit Maintenance Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Lloyd. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Discussion. Lloyd? Paul?
Wave.
Wade? Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5072, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Economic Development District Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Need a motion by Lloyd. Need a second. Need a second.
Second.
Second, Paul. Lloyd, discussion. Paul, discussion.
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Warren.
Kim, if I will, I see the sewer premium project is expected to spend, this money's not being carried over, so they expected to complete that project this year?
So that was an amendment that was presented, and it's been carried over to 2021.
So why is it not reflected in the budget?
So that was-
We did that the other night, that's correct. You're all right about that. And so that applied to the Estes deal too, that we passed the 30,000, right?
No, Estes is expected to be this year.
So
And if
they
it's,
are gonna spend the 30,000.
I mean, I can't be certain. I know when Brad had come, somebody had, I want to say it was Brad that had asked him. And Brad Crater from Sewage District indicated, you know, he really wasn't sure. He was waiting for it to show up in their budget. But it, you know, he wasn't being new, he's not understanding that there's another budget that it was funded through.
Okay.
But I believe the intention is 2020. If it's not, it'll have to be carried over.
Okay. Okay, and the sewer lift station, year 3, where are we with the 100,000 of moving the sewer lift station on Lewis Street?
So that's in 2021's budget.
It's been since, it's been funded, I've funded it
So-
since 2019.
Right,
Just-
so like I don't control that overall
I'm just
operation.
asking for an update, do we
Yeah.
know where we are?
They
I mean,
talked about it at the budget hearing, that they anticipated to do it in 2021. I know that they had said something about land stabilization and that kind of stuff. They ran into a problem with a right-of-way or a
They did. I
property
know there was talk
acquisition.
about a quick
So that's
take.
what it is.
Is that what's holding the?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Dean is proceeding on getting that property.
Now, Kim, in this fund, I know we had funded a gentleman to lobby for us in Baton Rouge.
Not in that fund, in general fund.
Was it the general fund? Are we gonna refund that?
It is funded.
It is funded?
I thought that was gonna come back to the council each year.
Yeah, it was supposed to. It was supposed to come to us.
Yeah, and again, for the record, this is why I keep harping on these projects, is because we go back and forth about getting things done, and it just sits there. I'm good.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, we got a motion by Lloyd and a second by Paul. All in favor of summary number 5072 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5073 introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 solid waste sales tax fund budget of revenue and expenditures. Need a motion in a second. Moved by Lloyd. Second by Paul. Discussion. Lloyd? Paul?
Wave.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carried. Summary number 5074, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 mosquito control drainage improvement sales tax fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Motion by Lloyd, need a second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Lloyd, Paul?
Wave.
Any comments? If there is none, I need all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5075, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Communication District Fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Need a motion. Motion by Lloyd. Second. Second by Brad. Lloyd? Brad?
Wade.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5076, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Criminal Justice Facility Fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Motion by Lloyd. Second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Any discussion? Paul?
Wade.
Larry? Any discussion? Okay. Good. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5077, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Disaster Relief Fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Need a motion by Lloyd. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Discussion. Lloyd. Paul.
Wait.
Lord, you gotta say something.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5788, introduced by the parish president, ordinance adopting the 2021 Public Building Maintenance Fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Need a motion and a second. Motion by Lloyd. Who's second on this side? Warren.
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 Yes, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate it. It's gonna be a tough one here, Mr. Chairman. I guess Scott gave the update as far as the Sugarcane Festival building, and we've heard from various dance schools. Mr. Chairman, I'd asked the council tonight, I know we don't know the extent of the damages, but we do know that the issues and the basement issues, all in various parts of the building, if I could yield to somebody out of the public, as far as the dance schools, if you had to choose 3 things that's wrong with the building, what 3 things, if you could come to the mic, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay with you, just one person.
Well, Warren, we're really out of public comment.
It's okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm asking.
This is pretty.
Okay, you have one,
Can you come to the mic and state your name for the record? Just 3 things, not a wish list.
my name's Franny Bobbitt. I've been in business 48 years now, and I own Franny Studio of Dance. Main problem is every time it rains, the basement is flooded. I even have bridges built so the kids can go from downstairs to upstairs. So we kind of curtailed that, but that would be one, the main issue. 2 would be the cables, when we bring up the curtains in the back where we put our backdrop. Those things are a disaster waiting to happen. They're so old, and some of them are rotten. One year, the bar that has the fluorescent lights on it, as soon as my show was over and we moved the kids off the stage, boom, that fell and broke. Could have been all over those kids. So some of those cables really need to be changed. And 3rd would be the seats. The seating is really bad. I, for one, use reserve seating. So every year I've got to go in there and not sell the seats that are damaged. Because if somebody were to sit in there, they could hurt themselves, you know? So, but that's our 3 things.
We did make some changes when Larry and all of us came into office in 2016. We replaced some bottoms, the backs, and I think we were gonna come back and actually put some money to redoing upstairs and some more of the seating. But I do remember they were very expensive, right? And it was hard to find the replacements for them.
Right. But if they don't want to fix that, just let us know. We'll take those seats off of we won't sell those 20 seats that's missing. You know, it's very simple as far as for just to get it back up and running. Then after the last show in July this year, you can renovate everything, because the sound system definitely doesn't work, but we hire somebody to do that. The lighting is not good. We hire people to do that. That's all in our expense.
We appreciate it.
You know, so but the main 3 things, we can't fix the basement. We can't fix the ropes, the cables. And we don't know where to get the seats.
Okay.
The rest of the stuff,
Thank
know,
you,
we're
Ms.
pretty
Bobbitt.
good
Yeah.
with.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you, Fran.
Mr. Chairman, did you want to have a discussion, or are you going to start taking up amendments
I
now?
mean, we can have a discussion on this item here in particular. You want to have a discussion?
No, I've
on?
got several items, but I didn't know how you wanted to do it. Did you want to just?
Well, I think this situation here is similar to the roof situation. We don't know what it's going to take to fix this, so we can't really put a dollar amount in the budget to determine how much money we need to allocate.
Well, I'm going to try to tonight to put a dollar figure to it, because I figure if we don't put up, nothing will get done.
Okay, go ahead. You got the floor, Warren.
Okay, so I guess I've got some questions for Kimberly in here. As far as the Dutch Gosnell, is there any particular reason why we don't have expenses in the?
She's there.
Oh, in the Dutch Gosnell, I mean, I don't see the utilities underneath Dutch Gosnell or the public works facility.
That's being funded out of the Public Works funds.
Okay, so where are we with decommissioning the Avery Island? Like, are we still paying flood insurance on Avery Island?
Not flood insurance, I don't believe. Oh, well, maybe flood insurance on the office facility only, though.
Okay.
It used to be, I don't know, $20,000 or so. It might be I wouldn't know the number off the top of my head, but it's not the full premium that it was.
Scott, can you give us an update? I mean, when Dutch Gosnell was sold to the council, we were gonna consolidate that whole department into one building, one roof. What are we waiting on?
The insurance has been ended on those outbuildings. That was the main expense there, Warren. We had some electrical, I think, understanding where the wires ran and all that over there. We've taken care of all that. The main delay here has been, for this year, has been COVID and the storm activity. The number of employees we have, Dexter and them are pretty much ready to demolish the place. We've done away with the insurance expense, though, in regards to what we planned on doing.
Okay, so.
You have no expense associated with that anymore.
Oh, you still have expenses. I mean, come on, we've got expenses. So when are we looking?
No, the building, Warren, listen to what I'm saying. The buildings that we said we would tear down, you have no insurance expense on that. That was the deal before.
No.
There's some expense associated with the office itself, and we still use the yard.
I understood the deal. I was in that meeting. I
But
understood the deal was to get rid of Avery Island completely. No operations there. Everything was to be brought to Dutch Gosnell to save, to get rid of property. We've been talking about doing that, and Scott, it was just, and I'm not blaming you, Scott. I'm just saying, we say we're going to do these things, and we never get them done, and the expense continues to linger, and we in the position we're in because we procrastinate on things. I mean, it's not just me. I mean, the public's here tonight. I mean, we've got to start getting things done. I mean, I know COVID's been a factor in things, but COVID can't end the life of parish government. It can't stop us anymore. I mean, we've gotta stick to our words.
It's only slowing down. It's only slowing down the demo of the buildings we stated we would demo. That's what I'm stating.
Okay.
Can I?
There was never a plan to tear that office down.
Can I touch on that? With Scott? Scott, Brian, so I'm a little bit confused too, because I could be wrong, but I thought that eventually, I know you're saying about tearing down the buildings, but tell us now, it's not that eventually that property is going to be decommissioned totally, the office, everything. We are keeping the office and all that. Is that the goal here?
Brian, I think that it would be the council's decision if they decided to sell the property.
No, but
that would be the way to get rid of the expense.
What I'm saying is, I understand you're tearing down the buildings, but because I'm like Warren, and maybe we misunderstood, but I thought that everything was gonna eventually, and I know COVID has really put a strain on everybody, but eventually there was gonna be nothing there. But you saying y'all still using the office, right?
No.
No.
Not the office. The office, nobody's in the office. We use the yard. We still have materials stored there. So when they're on that end of the parish, they use the yard. We're not using, there's nobody stationed there anymore. That office is closed.
So it's still being.
So the only insurance expense, the insurance expense I'm talking about is on the building. It's on the newer building, the office that we have there,
right,
which is elevated. So that expense is not, the savings we experienced were on the other buildings. And now, if you recall, in previous times, for previous storms, they had collected money from FEMA for some damage from flooding, which requires you to maintain insurance on those buildings. So since we're no longer using them and we're demolishing them, that insurance expense went away. That was the savings that we discussed. And I can't remember the exact amount. But the plan is still to get rid of all that. And then the yard, we still own the property. I mean, at some point, the only way to get rid of the expense would be to sell the property. Okay. Whatever expense we have left there. And I can't tell you off the top of my head what that is.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I have another one, just for Scott Wise.
I have one question for Warren. Of course, James passed a resolution a while back to look at all parish properties and look at them, possible sale or liquidate them. I did give you the assignment of reviewing those properties with a few council members to come back to us to tell us basically what properties you feel that we need to be liquidating.
Okay.
Where are you with that?
I haven't done anything.
Okay.
Again, we go back to picking properties, certain properties. We go back to, and again, while we're on, tonight, we're on public building right here. I'm going back to a promise that was made on the reason why the council put $2 million into a building. It was for the long run, the use. It was centralized. We didn't have to do the things we were doing in Avery Island. I mean, it was sold. And of course, for the record, I didn't vote for it again, but it's at the point as we continue to spend dollars and then we sit here and say, well, we don't have any money. Well, money's low. It's because we're not making good decisions.
I just want to make sure for the record, the administration gave us with a list of properties that the parish owned.
Have you looked at the list of properties
I
the
looked at the
administration gave us?
list, and I really think a lot of these properties we can't do nothing about. But it's upon this council to figure out what properties that we need to liquidate or get rid of.
So
Okay.
how can you determine to get rid of properties that you don't know if they're utilizing what they're doing with the properties?
That's the task he was assigned to do.
No. The task that I was assigned to do is not to determine the utilization. We pay someone to do that.
All right.
Again.
Well, that's beside the point. We're gonna go ahead and stay with this summary right here.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to talk to possibly with Scott to look further down the road. Currently, right now, we're spending $285,000+ on courthouse security. Is there any way, and look, we've got a good security program. We talked in the budget a year ago or 2 years ago about possibly having some conversations with the sheriff. The sheriff's in this building. We have a new sheriff in town. Is there any possible way we can talk to him to get this expense down?
The possibility does exist for us to visit with the sheriff, and that discussion has been had. We simply haven't had the opportunity to have the discussion with him as of yet to see if that's something he can do.
Yeah.
They're in budget issues just like we are, Warren. So in the past, in the previous administration, it would have cost us more to have deputies do it than it would have to do it the way we're doing it right now. But I mean, look, we're open. Again, if you look at the beginning of the meeting tonight, we indicated the level of cuts, the decrease in expenses that we've attained. And obviously that shows that we're more than, that's what we're doing every day. So those conversations will continue to be had, and we're looking at decreasing expense wherever we can.
I'm ready for the amendments if
Thank
you
you,
are,
Scott.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead with your first amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend the parish-wide, the public works, look at me. The public building and maintenance, frustrated, to the tune of $75,000 as at least a put-up of trying to fix the Sugarcane Festival building to be able to be utilized properly. To, again, make sure that our kids are not in danger, that, you know, Mr. Gester goes out there, evaluates it, and if he sees that it needs to be more, then, and again, this existed before the damage to the property. So this has been going on for a while, so I'm asking to put dollars in front of it so that we can stay committed to the dance schools and people that utilize it. And it's not just dance schools, you got the Carews, the Mardi Gras balls, you know, we have a lot of people, even the Sugarcane Festival building, they utilize it during Sugarcane Festival time. So it's benefiting not just one sector, but multiple people who use it. So I'm asking to start at least $75,000 to see what we can do with the basement and other things to fix it up.
Okay, thank you, Warren. Paul?
You beat me to it, Warren. I was gonna say 100,000, but our
And you know
first
what?
year in office in April, I heard they had the issues in the basement. I went over there and let everybody finish and went down there and, I can't believe we haven't had that solved. And I'm with Warren. I think we need to put the money in a line item and it's there. And we get the administration to work on that basement and the cables and the curtains, you know?
Yeah.
I would rather put more money than we need, and whatever isn't used goes back into fund balance. But I think if we got on it from day one in January, they say in late March is when everything starts. I think we have enough stuff, you know, the basement and the curtains, to me, should be done in 3 months. So I'm gonna support the you know,
75,000.
yeah, for the basement and the curtains.
Any other comments, Lloyd?
I have a question.
Look, the insurance, they're not doing that. And I just think spending this much money right now, I can't support that. To try to get this building to where you can use it, I don't think it would take that much. I mean, you come down, I'll support that, but I'm not supporting that. Support the insurance. Come up with whatever amount it would be.
Tommy?
You said that, Warren said 75, Paul said, 100,000, but my thing is, and now I'm hearing that the insurance company, insurance is good probably for the flood. What about, like this lady said, Miss Franny said, the cables for the curtains? You know, that's not damaged by the flood. The light fixtures, that's not damaged by the flood. So, I mean, it's just, we need, if we gonna have this building for operation, we just need to fix it right and be done with it.
That's right.
If we're not gonna be open for business for it, tell them, hey, go to a neighboring parish, let them go, and then we'll see and feel the pain that where's our taxpayers, why are we not spending money in Iberia Parish? And I'm good for that.
Lady Brown?
I had a question. Do we have any idea of the projected cost of the repair?
I'm not aware of any projected costs. Scott, you have any idea on the cost on repairing the Sugarcane Festival building?
No, we're waiting on the insurance for the vandalism part, but the, in regards to the basement and the other items that were brought up tonight, we'll get projected costs on that. I'm not sure which cable they were referring to. Is it the curtains or is there something else? We just need to get, I need an itemized, if they can just write it down, Eugene, and get it to us, then we'll get projected costs on that. Again, I'm meeting with Daryl on Tuesday. We'll start that process at that point, and hopefully, I'm hoping within the next week or so, we have the insurance response on how much we can spend on the first issue, and then we'll start working on the other stuff.
Okay. Can I?
You want to recognize Jacques?
Jacques?
Is it Jacques, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Jacques, the chair recognizes you.
Hello, I'm Jacques Louvier. I've been working with the festival building since 1996 under Dr. Miller. One of my jobs is to make sure the building's ready for the next show. I haven't missed a show in that time.
Jacques, speak in the mic, please.
I basically do the small maintenance that needs. When a tile's loose, I go in there and fix it. The stage lighting, I take care of that. I maintain that. The curtains, I maintain the curtains. I tighten them up. Every bolt, every nut on those curtains, I go through it. Beginning of this dance school year, tighten them up, make sure there's no slip-ups. I was contacted the morning that the maintenance crew found out. Matter of fact, Bill called me up and said, please come to the building. It was broken into. You know what's wrong with it. You know the building. Matter of fact, I trained Phil Guidry, who's out on medical leave right now when Dr. Miller finished, and Bill, I helped him go through the ropes in the building too.
Jacques, what I would like to know is the cost of, the estimated cost of repairing what we have right now.
Okay.
Do you have any idea?
When I walked through
if
the
the
building,
$75,000 would probably cover those costs?
to get the building running again, just running again, just so I can get Franny,
Right.
Ms. Gale, all of them in the building again. All it really needs is the exit signs need to be put up. They knocked down all the exit signs. There's 30 chairs that are actually need to be repaired because they pushed the rolling chairs into the audience, which broke the nuts, and which you just drill a hole, put a bolt in there. Toilet paper holders need to be put back on. Few mirrors need to be changed. 20 ceiling tiles, and basically clean the building, which is fire extinguisher stuff all over the place, which takes a good mopping, cleaning. That's about 3 weeks of work running 4 of my guys 8 hours a day. I don't think that reaches what I just said right there, $7,000. I don't think that,
What about the curtain?
What about the floating?
curtains are fine. What's,
Wait.
the curtains function right now. Of course, I would like to push a button and have curtains go up and down. It costs a lot. I mean,
I'm sorry, public comment's over right now. Jacques has the floor.
the curtains will work right now for the next season. The sound system, there's nothing wrong with it. The lighting system, there's nothing wrong with it. That's the big thing. The curtains are $60,000. The curtains themselves, they need to be vacuumed. I would like to see new curtains get in there. I'd love to see new curtains get in there with the latest push a button goes down, but, you know, just to get the building running for this season. It won't cost that much to get the building running. They sprayed fire extinguisher stuff all over the place. Where that comes for, I heard the parish president say $100,000. It's not $100,000.
That's good.
The air conditioner wasn't even on,
Yeah.
so the air conditioner
I
vent
think
doesn't need to be
you made a
cleaned.
point. Brian, you have a question?
Well, so, I hear what you're saying, but I also heard what these ladies said. And my big thing, which should be all of ours, above the money, is the safety of those kids. And those ladies, and, because
I'm tired of tightening up those bolts.
There. And if that chain or whatever, I don't think she said change the curtain. She said
The
the
pulley
rope,
system.
whatever. So, in your analysis, keep in mind the safety of everyone there, especially those children. And so whatever. I mean, it sounds like y'all saying two different things. So I
The
wish we
pulley
could be on the
systems
same
do need
page.
to be changed. They're from 1954.
So that's just my thing.
And-
Let's make sure that it's safe for everybody to go in.
But it's been working for this long. and the vandalisms didn't destroy the pulley
Jacques,
system.
thank you very much. Jacques.
Okay.
So Brian, I get your point, and I want to see the building fixed as well. But how can we be responsible in doing it the right way? We talked about the roofs at the library, that we need to know exactly what those costs are going to be.
I agree.
So do we exactly know what it's going to be cost to fix this Sugarcane Festival building? Or should we just pass the budget? Should we just pass the budget as is, and then we'll go ahead and make a budget amendment as soon as we get the figures that we need to do the work? Okay? Somebody want to say something?
Paul, this is Donna.
Go ahead.
I'm working with the insurance claim. Our carrier has 2 quotes for the cleanup, and they are looking at both quotes, and the quote would provide professional cleaning for the building. There's quite a bit of fire extinguisher suppressant all over the building, so that needs to be professionally cleaned so that the building will be safe, once it's done. And the insurance adjuster that came out, he's guesstimating that it might cost around $70,000 for the cleaning. Now, they are readdressing the air conditioner HVAC system to make sure that was included in the bid. So we should have something within the week, from the carrier.
That would take care of the things that we're worried about, the vandalism, but I'm still saying we put the money on the side for the basement and the curtains.
I agree. And don't limit it to just that, other things that may need to be there.
January 1st, that money, whatever we decide on, will be there in the line item, so the administration can look at the basement, look at the curtains, and as soon as they make a go of it, they got the money to pay. We don't have to come back here, we miss a meeting, we go to committee and all that. Just put it in the budget right now, and if it's less than whatever we put, it just comes back to the fund balance. But 3 months is, to me, is a good bit of time, but it's not a lot of time. So I think we need to do, again, we get this budget and we hand it off. We finish, guys. Let's give it to the administration and let them do it. And I agree, Donna, we'll let the insurance company pay for the cleanup
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah.
I just want to be, oh, I'm sorry.
Lady Brown?
Okay, just being that this is my first year serving, so we just had a situation with the library where we didn't have an exact cost, and that's why I was asking, how does it work? Do we keep the money there, and then we come back and we make an adjustment once we get the cost? And it sounds like this is a similar situation, so I'm just trying to understand, is it pretty much the same exact situation where you want to leave the money there, and then the director has full disposal of it once the year
This-
starts, and then,
This will be handled by Larry, not a director of the library that can go ahead and say, give us the Cadillac. I have more faith in Larry.
Right.
And this needs to happen quick.
Safety.
So that's why I said, you're right though. It
Okay.
is similar.
okay.
But remember, I just have faith that Larry's gonna have to jump on this and, the administration and get it done.
Okay,
Okay.
that was my question.
Andy?
I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that there could be some built-in delays and some built-in problems to this, that just because you appropriate the money may still not get you up and running in the time period you want. Number one, you got some occupancy restrictions because of COVID, but even more than that, if you want to do the renovations that I'm hearing talked about, you could be in a bid law situation where you have to go out for bids, which I just want it to be known that you still may have difficulty making the March and April,
Deadline.
yeah.
I'm still doing okay. Any other comments, James?
Yeah, does Donna know what the deductible is on that building, for insurance?
Donna, you have an idea of the deductible of the Sugarcane Festival building?
25,000.
Okay. We got 25,000 deductible, and the gentleman who runs it says it could be done for 7. So why are we even dealing with the insurance if that's the case?
Well, the insurance is not covering the water, the flooding issue, it's not covering the curtains, right?
The rope and all that,
Yeah.
yeah. Seats, yeah.
I'm getting that, they must have more damage than $7,000.
Yeah.
If we're going with insurance with $25 deductible. It's gotta be more than that.
Chemicals are caustic to start off with from those fire extinguishers, so that's a problem in itself.
Right.
Disposing of that, that's not just a mop and bucket cleanup you're talking about. And you don't know the damage that the chemicals have done, the time it's been sitting. there.
Right.
So
Right.
it gets a lot more involved than $7,000.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. I think there's a lot more than $7,000 damage to the building.
I think the insurance just needs to handle it.
That's my point.
Right. Andy?
Please keep in mind that you have an active claim with an insurance company, so I would be a little bit reluctant to say too much about somebody else's assessment about what
Right.
the damages might be until that's resolved. Just very sorry.
I had the substitution with the second.
So we got the substitute motion on to amend the budget, the public building maintenance fund budget $75,000.
Yeah.
For repairs necessary to the
Mr. Chairman, I'm just
Sugarcane Festival
asking,
building.
just to finalize before we vote, you see, they took the time to come here tonight and present. We know the indirect and direct costs that these dance schools bring, the Mardi Gras balls. Please, let's do something to continue to keep our kids involved and keep them off the streets. I'm good, thank you.
Okay, any other comments?
Mr. Eugene?
Yes.
Mr. Eugene?
Yes, Donna?
Who made the second on that motion? Who made the second on that motion? This is
Paul
Brenda.
made the motion, I made the second.
Wait, let me
No,
get
it
it
was
right
me the
here.
motion.
It's an amendment.
Lloyd made
I was the motion, okay.
Wait, I don't, I need a motion for
The
the
motion was
amendment.
from me, just for the
For the
substitution.
amendment?
For the amendment, and Paul was the second.
Okay, motion from Warren for the amendment and second by Paul.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I got just a quick clarification. If, from what I'm hearing, if the insurance takes care of the cleanup and gets the facility back basically to where it was, y'all can continue operating and use it. I'm guessing the additional stuff is just to better it for the future. But that doesn't have to be done for y'all to be able to use it. So basically, the insurance does their part, and that should be able to be done in that time matter, because all the other stuff addressed, that's not gonna happen in 3 or 4 months.
No, it'll probably be after your season, but the money will be there.
Okay, so y'all can, if the insurance handles their part and the place is basically cleaned up and I guess it's where it was, y'all can use it.
Yeah, that's the immediate need. I mean, that's kind of the biggest question we all have.
Y'all just need a
Would it be
venue
ready
that
in March?
y'all is
Yeah,
feasible.
about everybody.
Okay, I just
And
want
with
to.
COVID, if we can't, I, like myself, I still rent the building and I have nobody in the audience, we just film it. We need someplace to film.
No,
If we can't have it.
I just wanted clarification because we started talking about doing repairs and stuff like this. And these repairs not gonna happen in 3 or 4 months, so.
Yeah, but you have some issues, some safety issues, like she talked about, that they can go. There'll be money there to fix as they go.
Yeah, but some of that might not be able to be addressed in that timeline, like
That's a
you were saying, you
That's a
start dealing with
possibility.
bid laws. So,
Yeah, but
okay,
if
I'm
we-
Trying to get the
I'm
water
clear.
off the floor.
Y'all just need a venue y'all can use and y'all.
Still needs to be repaired though.
All right.
Kim, the $25,000 deductible was accounted for in 2021's budget on the, it's not? Okay. So we know we have to pay that.
Right, when they determine how much, it is, we can come back and, adjust the appropriation.
Okay, any other comments on the substitution?
Substitution for 75.
I have a question.
correct?
75,000.
Correct.
Yeah, later on.
So the substitution, that doesn't include the cost of the insurance for the 25,000, okay.
It's just for maintenance in the Sugarcane Festival building at this point. Nothing to do with the insurance.
So we'll have to come back and do another 25, so that would be like 100,000 going towards the building.
Two separate issues.
Two,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it may be necessary to do that.
One
okay.
of the insurance, the other one check.
Okay.
I'm done, I'm
You
sorry.
done? All right.
Tom.
Tommy?
So this 75,000, if they don't, all of it be used, they just put it back in the.
Go back in the fund balance.
Okay, thank you.
It's a double standard, I think, but that's okay. We want to make sure that we support the sugarine. Okay, all right, the substitute motion is on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Lloyd and Scott, the only 2 nays. Okay, that motion carries.
Right.
Summary number 5079, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 HUD Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program Fund Budget for Revenue and Expenditures. Motion is second. Motion by Lloyd, second by, who seconded?
I'll second it.
Chad. Lloyd?
Wade.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Summary number 5081, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Recreation and Playground Fund budget of revenue and expenditures.
You
Motion
skipped
by
one, Mr.
Lloyd.
Chairman. It's 5080.
5081 or 5080? Okay.
5080, sir.
Let's go back one. Summary number 5080, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Drug Court Fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Motion by Lloyd.
Second.
Second by Paul. Any discussion? Paul?
The wave.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Summary number 5081, introduced by the parish president. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Recreation and Playground Fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Motion by Lloyd, second by Paul. Discussion.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a couple of them on here.
Go
You
ahead,
know,
Paul.
I really, if you noticed the other night when we did our adjustments for the end of the year, Katie probably had 2.5 pages, them long pages. I think she's really done a good job, you know, but I also see that the directors, you know, they run these departments, they pass it to the administration, but guys, we're the bank, we're the ones that it stops with, you know? Cutting straight to the chase, I say that Curtis Landry golf range thing on James Street, I say we just wash our hands of it and walk away. I know there's some, it might be for Parish, Segura. The city has some drainage problem, flooding in that area, so the city is kind of interested in making a retention pond on it. We're spending over $17,000 a year maintaining it, all that. I say we get out of it, let it go. The second one is BOM. It's just been something, it's down there, it's in James's district, but not far from my house. You got Camp Knighton. We spend over $30,720 on that thing. They say they get some rentals, I understand that. They can go another mile or two to Willowwood if we want to have them. They in page 5 and 11. I think this is purpose opportunity. The church owns the land, and I say we just tell them, here's your land back, and we back out of that. That right there is about $48,000. You know, Park and Rec has done a fantastic job, but you know, they could put that money into the other parks and things. You hear them talk about green space. They got enough green space. They can go to City Park. There's a lot of other parks over there. So I would like to make a substitution, you know, and again, Katie did a fantastic job. You know, I think she's really running it really good, but I think it's time for us to show that we're gonna get rid of some properties and back out of it. And that's $48,000 for you.
That's an amendment?
That's an amendment.
So you're cutting that budget, that dollar amount out of the budget?
Well, I'm cutting the expenses out of the budget.
Okay.
So it would just be.
I'll second.
Hey, Eugene, it's Scott.
Yes, Scott.
In regards to the first location that Paul spoke of, I think it was the one that Parish Segura owns, that property that he donated. We spoke to Parks and Rec, and look, Katie and Scott were both in agreement with both those properties. What they asked for was that that they get reimbursed for the building that they built at the first property that Paul discussed. I think if the city would take that over, or however that deal would work, that was, I think they spent maybe $30,000 to build that building, so they asked that that would be reimbursed, or the value of the building be considered.
I have a second.
I'm sorry, you second?
Yeah. So does that mean I get to talk now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so hypothetically, and Annie's there, so we defund this tonight. In the 2021 budget, there's no money there, so what happens? Do they go shut the facility down? And nobody's on premises, and then we start the negotiation of getting rid of the property to the city? I mean,
Or to Perry.
or whoever it respectively belongs to. Annie, am I putting you on the spot with that one?
Well, let's start off with the easy one. If you don't put anything in the budget, then they're gonna have to shut it. They're gonna have to walk away from it, at least from its operations.
Okay.
I am familiar with one of those pieces, probably one that you referred to with the city, because there were previously some discussions about that. That could relatively easily be handled in a cooperative endeavor agreement with the city. Part of that cooperative endeavor could be some reimbursement for expenses on the building. I mean, that's just got to be negotiated, you know, with them. You know, other properties, you know, you're not going to be able to donate. So you're gonna probably have to put those up for sale with a, you know, minimum bid.
Okay. I'll follow that. I mean, I think you got a good point, Paul, and I mean, we like to work with the city well, and I think this is a good idea. I'm good.
Paul, again.
On the second location, Andy, Camp Knighton, that property is owned by a church. So I don't know that you could end up having a third party coming in and buy our buildings unless they cut an agreement with them.
That's why we'd have to do some examination of the title. You know, if somebody else owns the property and we have a building on there, then, you know, what type of arrangement did we have to use it? Was it a donation with a reversionary clause, you know?
And I know everybody's so overworked, I understand, I still say we pull the money and just let it sit. And somebody's gonna move one way or the other, but at least we got our money. And it's the beginning of getting out of some of that stuff.
I'm not quite sure if defunding those two facilities is the right way to go. What about the liabilities, Andy, on those properties when we defund something like that? I mean, when the parish is still on those properties.
Well, they're, number one, they're probably still insured. You know, of course, somebody on there would be a trespasser if it's closed and not open, so, you know, you've got that issue. It sounds like to me what you're trying to do is to identify those particular pieces of property as ones that we need to figure out who owns it, who has what rights to it, and figure out the best way to handle it through a cooperative endeavor agreement or whatever method it takes to get you out
That
of
can be
the
achieved
ownership
tonight
of the
while the
property.
funding is still in this. Okay.
Brian, you got a question?
Paul, I want to address that, what you call it, Camp, what?
Camp Knight.
Is that the one on the Roller Highway?
Yeah, you go down and you
Right
pass.
before Willowwood on the left?
Well, no, it's more, you know where Caribbean Ice is and the Food and Fun?
Yeah.
It's about 20 yards past. It's a road.
On the left?
Yeah, everybody rides by it, nobody goes
Is
into
that,
it.
because there's a little park down there, huh?
Yeah.
Didn't we have a little meeting down there one time? But anyway,
I've done that one time in my whole life.
is that maybe, that's not a polling place, is it, for the parish?
No,
Huh?
it's a park where kids go play them.
That's why, but
In my district.
But it's in your district.
Yep.
Isn't it a polling place?
Yes, sir, it is.
That's what I thought I thought so. So the buildings belong to us, but the property does.
No.
So you want to get rid of the building?
Yeah, I mean, we get out and.
No, I'm not disagreeing,
No, no,
I'm
no,
just
no.
trying to feel where you're coming from. So in that way, Park and Recreation doesn't spend any money on
right.
the buildings or the property neither then, right?
Right.
I mean, because I'll probably cut the grass and everything else, right?
30,000.
Okay, all right, I just want to make, I thought that's where you were talking about, I was just wanting to make sure. And you're right, James, that's why I was
You
asking.
have two precincts there.
So, before I get off of that, Mr. Chairman, so, let's say we do, what about the polling place?
What about the grass?
We'll go to Dutch Gosling, there you go.
North Lewis.
What happens when it
No,
becomes?
but seriously, I'm joking. What's that, Mr. Chairman?
Who's gonna cut the grass?
You got Bill
It's gonna
Place.
become a nuisance.
No, but I'm saying, I think that's something we need to, 'cause if we defund it tonight, then we're gonna have to take up
You still got January till
the
January.
polling place, which, I don't know what we got next year as far as the voting, but I don't know, just a thought, yeah.
I just think we're moving too fast on this. I think we need to leave it in the budget and work on getting rid of these two buildings the proper way. Yeah.
Some more never comes.
Okay. All right, we have a substitute motion on the floor to defund, to make a budget amendment to defund the Curtis Landry Park and the BOM Camp Knight Park building.
Before we vote, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can we talk to Ms. Katie about this, or it's out of her hand, it's all on us?
It's all on us.
It's all on us, you know?
They said Katie and Scott was doing it. They just want the money back for the building, right?
I mean, we don't own the property, and I don't know, that's technical. I mean, I can't answer how that's gonna work. Andy, you got it?
Without knowing, you know, the ownership.
Exactly.
of the
I
property, so
I just think
all we have
we
to do is go
yeah.
figure out what you're gonna do.
I think we're premature in making this kind of decision without knowing all the facts. Okay,
Any other parks?
all right. Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, Scott,
Yes.
You commented that Katie and Scott were on board with this. They just would like to have been reimbursed for the building and the one that Parish owns.
Yeah, look, we just had one initial discussion with them, and they indicated that they would be okay with it, but they did experience an expenditure when they built that building to the tune of about $30,000. I'm with you, Gene. I mean, my opinion, and basically that doesn't go any further than my head, but I think you should let the parish president and the mayor sit down and with legal and figure out what the right path is in making this happen. I don't think it's going to be that hard, to come to that agreement. And Parks and Rec has to be involved with that also.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to get out of this question. I mean, I agree with Paul. I just, like, there's so many unanswered questions. If we defund it, nobody does nothing with it, the grass becomes 4 foot tall and it's a nuisance, then it becomes a burden on public works. What happens then? I mean, I don't know. I applaud what you're doing, Paul. I think it's a great idea. Just maybe a little bit more info.
But we don't own it, we wouldn't have to cut the grass.
It's not in the city, it's not in the parish either, it's in the city, so
And
it's
then-
a city nuisance.
The building that
I like that.
the building they refer
They'll call a nuisance in on it.
the building they referring to, is it a metal building?
Yeah.
I don't think
So
that's
maybe
in the
our
city. Whatever
colleague
that one
could
is.
probably tear it down and erect it somewhere else, that since he wants to climb on roofs and check things out.
Might take them 2 years.
One of the things I've always said is this government moves so slow.
That is
Right.
a fact.
And, and look, I understand everybody's overwhelmed, the only way I stay ahead of things is I'm ADD, so I can do 4 things at the same time. But, I just think this is how you're gonna have to make some of these things happen.
You gotta take the bull
I
by
can see
the-
where y'all might think it's a little too fast, I just don't.
Well, I think it is one example where we need to direct the administration, say, look, these are the 2 facilities we want to liquidate. Go ahead. and-
So is that kinda like the list we got 3 months ago?
done that.
Paul, we're gonna
That's
say,
it.
I wasn't gonna call him out like you did me earlier, but
That's it, that's
We-
it.
We've done that so many
Yeah.
times.
Well,
Gene.
I was
Tired of running
hoping
in
we
the
would have
circle,
that
everyone's
list
getting
reviewed
busy.
by now, and this would be in motion, but that's another
District,
story.
is it yours?
All right, we have a substitute motion.
Hey, Mr. James.
James, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to just say that, that's the park on Camp Knighton, back there in the building, that's the only park in my district. Some districts I know have more than one park. The building is a polling place, number 1. Number 2 is, do we even know if they have any rentals on this building in the near future that we're gonna interrupt from somebody having something there that's already rented?
A polling place.
But I'm talking about for wedding reception, baby shower in the near future, do we have any rentals on this building that we know of? Can we make a decision tonight to know about that?
But I just say you move a mile down the road to Willowwood, you got a big facility over there,
3 times the expense, though.
Yeah, I'm just making that.
I understand, good point.
All right, any other discussion? Okay, we voted on the amendment. The motion was made by Paul and second by Warren to eliminate the line item dollar amount for the Curtis Landry Park and the BOM Park. All those in favor signify by raising their hands.
Aye.
We have a yea vote from Warren, a yea vote from Scott, a yea vote from Brian, a yea vote from Paul, and a yea vote from Brad. Now, the nay votes. How many were you counting that? The nay votes is Lloyd, nay votes is Tommy Howlett, James Stronghold, Chad Mathurin, Eugene Olivier, and Leda Brown. That motion fails. Back to the original motion. The ordinance itself. An ordinance adopting the 2021 Recreation and Playground Fund budget, the revenues and expenditures. Motion was made by Lloyd and second by Paul. Show of hands, all those who support that motion. Lloyd, Tommy, is it unanimous?
Yeah.
We have a unanimous vote supporting. Scott?
Brian, everything?
Yeah.
No, Brian, you support it or no?
Huh, what's
You're
that?
for it, right?
No,
Yeah, okay, we have a unanimous motion to support Resolution 5081.
The motion passes.
Thank you, Council. That motion passes. Summary number 5082, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Tourist Commission Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Summary number 5083, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Industrial Development Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd.
Second.
Second by Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carried. Summary number 5084, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Bond Redemption Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Moved by Paul, second by Lloyd. This motion has to be amended to reflect the issuance of the new bond.
Right, I was gonna ask if Kimberly could explain to us.
So as a result of the bond refunding that was approved at the last meeting, the overall change, we were reporting a surplus of $6, and the surplus amount is going to change to $7,600. So it eliminates the principal payments on the bridge debt and the RV facility debt, and the interest payments are reduced down, but it's not quite $40,000. With the payment that's coming from the recreational facility on the RV facility, they putting in $60,000, and we will have about $7,500 more than what the payments are on the principal. So we're going to hold that money in fund balance and use it towards next year.
Any other questions on the amendment? Okay. I had a motion by Paul. You have a motion by Paul to amend 5084, and a second. Lloyd, is okay with you? Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries. Summary number 5085, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Public Library Shrinking Fund Budget. Motion by Lloyd. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carried. Summary number 5086, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Royalty Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd. Need a second. Second by Paul. This motion would have to be amended because of the issuance of the new bond. Paul, you want to do that? Lloyd?
Kimberly.
All right, go ahead, Kimberly.
So the adjustment, we had originally appropriated $844 in transfers to the bond redemption fund. We're actually going to transfer somewhere in the neighborhood about $450, $460. So that resulting change is going to increase, well, it's actually going to decrease the deficit and increase ending fund balance. So we're looking at ending fund balance being about $1.1 million at the end of 2021.
Okay, Lloyd, you motion to amend that budget? Motion by Lloyd to amend, second by Paul. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Summary number 5087, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Technical Royalty Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd. Need a second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Norton? Then motion carries. Track here. Okay. Summary number 5088, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Road Construction Project Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd. Second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Summary number 5089, introduced by the Parish President, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Need a motion by Lloyd. Second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 59, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Sewer District Number 1 fund budget of revenues and expenditures. Motion by Lloyd, second.
Paul.
By Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5091, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Sewer District Number 1 Port of Iberia Fund Budget Revenues and Expenses. Motion by Lloyd, second by Paul. In discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5092, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Airport Authority Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd, need a second.
Second.
By Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5093, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Acadian and Fairground Commission Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd. Second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor? Brian?
The fairgrounds?
Yes.
I didn't see it, but did y'all see that deal from the press stuff?
That's not for discussion tonight. Let's not discuss that if you don't mind. The administration and the clerk is looking into that.
Okay, so that won't.
I'm just like you, I don't fully understand it myself.
That won't. I don't have no money that needs to. Okay. All right.
It's not gonna affect our 21 budget at this point, because you're already showing the deficit.
Man. All right,
That's how we've
so
been
shut
passing
my
it
mouth
every year.
and
Yeah.
do what I'm told. Okay. Huh? I mean, all
I mean,
right.
it's, hey, you got the floor. If you wanna do something different,
I'm
I would just suggest
asking
that.
you as chairman.
As
did
chairman,
you
I don't
see
have
it?
enough information to answer any questions about that right now.
Tim, I don't see the deal.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Just reconsider it. You should probably, I could probably take the money back.
Okay, all right, so, we on summary number 5093, got a motion by Lloyd, a second by Paul. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5094, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Water District Number 3 Fund Budget and Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd, second.
Second.
Second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carried. Summary number 5095, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Risk Management Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd.
Second.
Second by Paul. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5096, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Unemployment Compensation Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd. Second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any nays? Ayes have it, motion carries. Summary number 5097, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the 2021 Iberia Parish Non-Expendable Library Trust Fund Budget of Revenues and Expenditures. Motion by Lloyd, second by Paul. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Summary number 5098, introduced by the parish president, an ordinance adopting the Capital Improvement Fund Budget for 2021 through 2025. Motion by Lloyd, second. By Paul. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman?
You got something to say before we discuss?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on personal privilege, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the general fund.
Second.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
You got a motion by Warren to reconsider the general fund budget, and a second by Brian.
on the reconsideration?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it, so you got the floor.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to bring up Kimberly. I think she had said earlier, I guess I missed it, why I thought it was in EDD, but it was in general fund, the lobbying gentleman that we hired. My understanding, when we hired him, he was gonna come here, it's gonna be annually, he'd come here and we'd decide on the renewal. She says it's in the budget, can we cut it from the general fund budget? You said it's under executive, Kim, is it under, where at an executive, is it presidential, where?
Yeah, executive professional services.
Okay.
Which line item is that?
I just had that. Which line item is it, Kim?
I mean, if you're looking you looking on the ordinance?
On the left.
417.
Page 3?
At $51,000?
Yeah.
Third from the top.
Yeah. No, it's 20-some thousand, right, Kim?
No,
Page
30.
3, general fund?
Yeah, we paid 30, so, no, you're right, yeah. Yeah, and
30,
we never,
yeah.
we never seen him.
Yeah.
I think, never mind.
Did he come?
51,000 on the.
Did he come? He
Oh,
came?
no, I don't
remember.
No, he never came.
No,
But
he
I'm
never
just-
came.
I'm
I
just
never,
confused.
never seen a report.
Warren has the floor, wait up.
No, I'm good. I need the motion. If they want to discuss it, I'm fine with that.
Okay, discussion, who's next?
I'll go.
Paul.
You know, he's a big lobbyist for the tobacco industries, and he's very well known, and he's pretty powerful. And talking to different people, you know, why Lafayette gets this and other people get that, he says, because they're at the table in Baton Rouge banging on doors and things. I just think that right when he started, you know, a month or so before the COVID hit and legislation in Baton Rouge, I just don't think he had a chance. And I think he's the kind of guy that could get us some stuff going. I mean, you know, I'm sure in the first or second game Drew Brees had, he might not have did that well. But I just, you know, I'd like to see him get a full year under his belt. And I mean, I know it's some bucks, but I mean, you know, we gotta have to put it where we get the biggest bang. And, you know, we kind of got away from the council meetings in March and April, probably when he would have come around, and we never called him, and, you know, it's just a bad year with all this COVID. I would just like to see us try him again.
Get a COVID discount?
You done, Paul?
Yeah.
James?
Yes, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Paul, but he's never came here. I've never seen the guy. We never had a piece of paper, an email, nothing. What did he do? Nothing. We don't know. Because we have no proof of what he did. We don't even know the guy. Never even came here. So why would we pay him again with COVID still going on to do nothing again?
I can call him and have him come to the next meeting if y'all would like.
Scott asked to have that on a quarterly basis to come.
That was
way
passed
back
with a
when.
resolution.
And that never happened.
Yeah, done, James?
Yes.
Brian?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was gonna say, and also with the position we in, with the, I don't doubt that he's worth his weight in gold, but, and it's, I'm sure it's minute compared to Lafayette and all, but again, if he wanted our business, some of us are business people, we know how it works, he should have came quarters and at least show something. And remember, we do have people representing us in Baton Rouge. They are our representatives, our senators and all, and they should be doing that daily, looking out for, I know what you can say, Paul, but I agree with that guy.
Well, we got in the
but-
last 4 years. Okay, the lobbyists aren't the only, the legislators aren't the only ones.
No,
He'll twist
I agree.
arms from Lake Charles to Shreveport.
But the thing is, and I agree with James, is he could have brought us some crumbles or something, tease us with something, not even a thank you for the 36 or anything like
Mr.
that.
Napier,
So
you forgetting, he sent a nice calendar.
I did get and a Declaration of Independence, something like that. Okay, but I agree with James. I at least right now I can't see with COVID going on and with the, you don't know how the legislature's gonna be next February when they start or March, whenever. It might be the same or worse than it was this year. So why put up that 50 or whatever, I can't support it. Maybe down the line, but not next year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Scott, you had any correspondence with our lobbyists in Baton Rouge since we hired him on?
We have.
Really?
I can tell you this, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but it is my opinion that he helped us to navigate in the path to getting the ARA access road funded. I'm not saying he was the main reason, but I do believe that he played a role in helping us on that. And if you look at the value of that road compared to what you're paying him, I would give the guy another year. I mean, he's not somebody that just comes off the street. This guy, I think, is going to do his best for us. And we, again, I think Paul's right. We need somebody, looking out for our best interests, or looking for money that we can utilize that we just don't have right now. So that's just my take on it.
Thank you, Scott. Lloyd?
Yeah, well, without anybody to the table for us helping us out, just like you was talking about the senators and the representatives and all that, this guy helped to get some things passed that we want, that we wouldn't even see.
What is that? What is that?
I'm serious.
No, yeah.
I mean, things that senators, other senators and representatives got to vote on for us to get. He's there with them where our senators maybe can't get them to do.
And Lloyd, Lady Brown?
I'm serious about that.
No.
Good. Anyone else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Paul, I agree, we have to have somebody at the table, but we gave them a year. And again, it goes back to everybody says COVID did this. But that ARA road, that was coming. I mean, we were in good graces with the governor now, I assume. And we got a new representative, and Mills has been there for us. I mean, how many times has he come down here with issues? And he's come in front of this council and come sit with us at the council. So to say that, our legislators are working for us, I just, I don't think it's the 51,000.
Wow.
We may be able to do some other things with.
Well, I'm gonna have to agree with Paul and Lloyd on this one. I'm definitely gonna support keeping the $51,000 in the budget. I think this lobbyist can eventually do a lot of good for us. I think this was an extremely difficult years for everybody in government, and I think we all should recognize that, and we should see better things coming in the future.
I have a question.
Lady Brown?
It isn't about the budget. It was about summary number 195.
Well, we have to stick to what we're talking about right
Okay.
now.
All right.
Weren't we in a cooperative agreement with the city on this? Wasn't the city paying
No.
us some of that?
No, they seen the light.
Okay, all right, I thought the city was.
wanted 72.
Okay. Paul?
I was just gonna ask before the vote, we explain what a yes and a no vote is, so we don't get confused.
A yes vote means that this amendment is going to be considered in the ordinance 5064.
No, it's gonna be ripped.
Huh?
It's gonna be ripped from the ordinance.
Yeah, it'll be taken out.
To be taken out.
A yes
The line
vote to
item
take it
funding
out.
would be removed for professional service for the lobbyists. A
And a
vote
no
yes
would
would remove it. A
and a
vote
no
no
vote would be to keep it.
would keep it in there, won't change anything.
Come on, boys.
All right?
All right.
Okay, all those in favor of removing line item for the professional service, $51,000, please raise your hand. We have James, Warren, Scott, Brian, and Brad.
Come and Paul, get your hand up.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Pay a guy in Baton
Okay,
Rouge
now,
for nothing,
those,
waste money.
wait, those would not like to change anything, raise your hand, please. That's Lloyd, that's Chad, that's Eugene, Tommy, Lady Brown, and Paul.
Another promise broken.
Okay, that motion fails. Do we have to visit the original motion again, Andy, on this one?
No.
Do we have to visit the original motion again? Since the amendment failed?
No.
You good? Okay, good.
Paul, hope you get a steak
One more question. Lady Brown got the floor.
On summary number 195, I wanted to, so I voted yes to have James to have his amendment considered, but after it failed, I wanted to vote yes for the amendment. I mean, for the
It
summary.
didn't fail, it passed.
Which one was it?
Summary number 195, didn't it fail?
It failed.
Yeah, but I wanted to change my vote to yes. I wanted to vote yes instead of voting no the second time we voted.
For reconsideration.
Okay, so.
Okay, a
Well,
reconsideration.
was she on the winning
Yes.
side?
Yeah, because it failed.
She can reconsider it.
Yeah.
You gotta ask
Sit
for
back.
reconsideration.
Everybody have a
Summary
seat, please.
195.
I need a motion to reconsider summary number 195. Motion by Lady Brown.
Second.
I need a second by Paul.
What is that?
That's on that deal with the full-time and part-time employee.
Okay.
And a second by Paul. All those in favor of consideration signify by saying aye. Aye. Show of hands, please. Lloyd, Tommy, Chad, Eugene, Brad, Paul, Lady Brown. That motion,
You might want to take the nays.
yeah, all those nays votes, please raise your hand. Scott, Warren, James, and Brian. That motion fails. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Tommy, second by Chair. Good job.